night second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terror Boys over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
What's going on out there? It's the Turn 2 Terribles podcast. I am here with Chris and Jeremy Zarfos. Thanks for coming out. We got a lot to talk about this week. We got Daytona, a shit show of a race that was. The playoffs. And we got a big dirt week to recap. And we also will recap the DOB Nationals and talk a little bit about the pre-race show we did on Thursday as well. So as you can see, we're without Josh. Something came up at the last minute. He probably won't be on the podcast for a little bit as he's got some overseas travel to do and everything. So, Josh, we wish you were here with us. Missed you, buddy, already.
Yeah,
right. It's gonna be.
You're gonna miss him.
Yeah, he'll be out till probably mid-October. So he's gonna miss a good chunk of the playoffs that we know Chris loves. So
I love the playoffs so much.
How you guys doing?
Truex. Be a lot better if I wasn't fighting you all day over trivial tinfoil Sirius XM listener nonsense all day.
You're not fighting me. I'm just giving you the common
folk. Well, you're devil advocate nonsense. Yes. You should call Dave Moody with that shit. Leave me alone.
Where do you think I hear to have this half-baked shit from?
If you heard it on that show, it's definitely tinfoil hat. No knowledge of actually what's happening going on, and then you bring it here.
Yeah,
don't bring that here.
I didn't bring it here. I just
not yet. We're just getting started.
we know.
I don't disagree with all of it either. So call me tinfoil hat, whatever. I don't think there's any tinfoil conspiracies really behind Austin Dillon. I guess I
was just trying to find a nice way of saying they're stupid.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
He does have a TV show on USA Network, and they were.
Here we go. Stop it! Just stop it. We're not even engaging in your nonsense.
Let's get into it. Let's get right into it. Daytona.
I just heard this. That's how I know where you're going with it. I'm not doing it.
Austin Dillon wins a wild race where only 5 cars did not get into a wreck. You had rain. It got pushed from Saturday to 10 a.m. Sunday. After Chris was gracious enough to give me a ride back to my car at Lincoln after a wild Saturday night. I got to listen to pretty much most of this race on the way home, and then by the time I got home, it was raining again. And I got to take a little nap, and then it restarted again. I'm glad that they got the entire thing in, but a lot of playoff implications, a lot of wrecked race cars. Austin Dillon somehow walks away with the win. Jeremy, what'd you think about it?
It was about as I expected. I was excited for it, and it was as disastrous as I thought it would be. People doing dumb shit when they didn't need to, really for no reason. I mean, I don't know why some of the things happened the way they did. When they did, they weren't. You're not getting into the playoffs or out of the playoffs on any lap but the last one. So, like, to have accidents or wrecks every single one of them was just dumb. Like, except the rain one. Like that was dumb.
That was for a different reason.
No, but not on the drivers.
Right.
No, but it played out the way I think we all hoped it would, as far as some drama there with Martin and Ryan and Austin. Like Austin's not leading; they're both in. Someone else wins; one of them's out. So, it is kind of a shame that there were that many cars torn up. That I can't even say that because I mean Blaney was torn up from the start, just hung in there all day. Any other time they would have just parked that car and went home, right? Been on a flight out of town. So kudos to them because they had to. Martin tried to hang on the best he could and lost the draft. It kind of sucks that it came down to like how fast your wrecked race car was. Because if Martin has a good car there, he's the best car on the track, probably.
Yeah.
I think
as far as experience and speed, but like it's what we thought it would be.
It's what it's set up to be
every lap. I mean, it really did.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, I think like the race is Daytona. They're going to do things, especially in a situation where if you win, you're in, and we get down when the rain was coming, even though you could see it coming to the track, the race was going to get rain. It was just a matter of when. I think to go back to like Jeremy was saying with Ryan Blaney, why were you in that situation to be in the first crash? You had no reason to be. All you had to do was finish top 20. You're going to have a boring day. I mean, they got lucky that car even still rolled. And then once that happened,
you said that he was going for stage points, which did matter.
It would have mattered to lock it up, but at what cost? Because he just got no stage points and had to hang on for dear life when he could just rode back there and watched it play out. I mean, that's not the way I would have went if I was him, with the advantage he had.
Yeah.
With Kurt Busch leaving, and then on the flip side, once that happens, why is Truex up there? Like, what are you doing, man? He did the same exact thing at the end of the stage 2 to put himself in a bad spot. It's like you literally just gave it all back to him. And they both got. I mean, Truex kind of got more unlucky by that big crash, taking 20 cars out that get 20 free spots for Blaney. But still, just like, why would you put yourselves in that situation? Like early, Truex needed to. Blaney did not. He has to just counteract whatever Martin Truex does.
Mm-hmm.
But the race as a whole, it's Daytona.
Super speedway racing, man.
The guys you thought would be up there got there at some time or another and paid the price. Cindric, I mean, he won the Daytona 500. Got there. He was up there most of the day too. In and out along Cindy That's. I mean, it wasn't all luck. But outside of him and Dylan, at the end, those guys, you see where the money makers are. Stay in the back half of the field the whole race and then finish top 10. But
yeah,
that's Daytona.
Yeah, Daytona, Talladega, and now Atlanta. It's kind of all turning in the same style of racing, which it's been this style for years, really. I mean, it's not anything new. We know what happens, but usually we're used to maybe just one big one. And there was really just one big one, but because of rain. But there was a couple other wrecks. Just what can you expect? I think they were racing. I don't think you see that big one until maybe 10 to go. If the rain wasn't coming. I mean, they were pushing hard every lap just because of it. Got DOB up in the chat right here. Jay-Z, look alive. I know you want to talk about that sweet Brett Marks pick behind you and not NASCAR.
I mean, a little bit, but, I wish that race was a little more exciting with more cars at the end to have a good finish. I think we all knew what Austin was going to do. He was going to do anything he had to do right there.
Right.
Didn't matter if he had people behind him or not. And Cindric knew he was a sitting duck.
And no teammates.
Right. I mean, it kind of played out. I thought it was just going to be done in rain, but as I sat and thought, I'm like, man, they do have all day. And they still have lights. It's only Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they saw a window where they could get the rain to stop, they were going to race that race. And I'm glad they did. Like, I mean, I've never rooted for Cody Ware to do anything positive in this life, and I was like there for it. The car's clean, and even Cody Ware could take a perfectly clean car and go backwards at Daytona. So it was exactly how I thought it was going to go. I don't know what I was thinking, but moving on. I mean, honestly, it was kind of anticlimactic after the rain, in my opinion. Like that.
I didn't think it was bad.
I don't know. The players were gone. Like,
there's not enough cars to build energy.
Right.
There was. I thought that racing was kind of okay for the amount of cars that were there, because you did have a couple lead changes.
I guess
and everything.
Came back to
it wasn't too bad. But
which cars it was
for more cars.
Like, I think that was part too. There's not a lot of cars, and the cars that were there, like you have Reddick, Gregson, someone else. That's all RCR basically affiliated. So now it's like, okay. I mean, Noah's going for it, so I'll give him that Beard racing car. But Cindric had no help whatsoever, and it just kind of takes it out. He's not going to have that wild finish. I mean, it got crazy when Austin Dillon got close to him and kind of jumped sideways. That brought that whole second group up there. Then it was just chaos for a while. That was fun, but like,
Well, even that second group, they couldn't figure out like to
How
not
to
have
say
the
so.
damaged car at the front of that pack. Like as soon as Kyle Busch wasn't leading that second pack, they came back to right to him.
Mhm.
Like he was trying to lead the pack, and I understand Kyle's like, "All right, guys, we got to go here," but his car was damaged, and they started to fall back. And then you saw Martin lost the draft, got to that pack, and they all came back, and that was because the cars behind them, whichever car was just clean, they got into and
Yeah.
finally put a clean car in the front of that pack and caught right back up.
If they would have did that a lap or two earlier, I thought we would have saw a really hell of a finish.
Probably.
Quick opinion: the move that Austin Dillon did on Austin Cindric, fair or foul? Because there was some debate on this, and I don't know why. Because I think it's
situation.
fair, and it's barely anything. But
Situationally, I think it's
Austin Cindric
fair.
wasn't happy about it.
Situation, I think it's fair, and I think if you like, after digesting it a little bit, what's the last thing Austin Dillon wanted there was probably a caution, and he damn near got one. That would have jumbled that whole thing up. So I don't know. And I think it was just more of how he caught him. It wasn't even intentional. Just he was going in there and just caught him at a really bad spot. It made it look a lot worse than it was.
I think he had a run and said, "I'm just going to push him to see what happens here." Whether he pushed him out to a big lead or not, because Cindric said he kept backing up, and backing up. So he finally backed up. Austin got a run. If he shoves him out there again, let's say 10 car lengths, he's going to just drive by him the next time.
Right.
You know, and that just he got a little bit loose and gone. If anyone makes that more than what it was, they're a fool, because if you didn't see it coming, you're a fool. So then when you make something out of it, you're either a Ford fan or you're an Austin Dillon hater. Like. That's it. That's the only reason you're like, oh, I'm surprised he did that. Like, grow up.
Or
So
Martin
you're
Truex fan.
You're calling Austin Cindric a fool. Confirmed. Mark it down.
But he
100%.
even said.
Yeah.
He even said, I know
Like-
he's in a spot there. He said it.
Yeah, he said, I know I'm a sitting duck. Well, then play it.
But
Don't
he
be
was
pissed.
he was way more heated than I expected him to be in his post race. I expected him to be upset about not winning, I guess, but he was like, he said, "Oh, well, Austin Dillon just moved me." You know what I mean? Like he
I mean,
had that
happened.
attitude about it. I don't know.
I
I
mean,
think super
if-
speedway racing. I don't think Austin Dillon
first of all,
just moved you.
Austin Cindric, fuck him. Blaney, he put in the wall. They're doing 500. So
Yep, I agree.
And look at Austin. He could have easily wrecked himself. He wasn't clear by very much when Cindric came back up the track. Dillon, that was actually really close. If you go back and look
that
at
would have
that,
been a what an idiot move of the week
it would be a totally different conversation. But
when BJ
You know,
McLeod wins because he's the only car still out there with no damage.
oh, I'm here for it.
I would have been here for that. That dude
that
would
would've
have
been
fought the whole everybody. It'd been great.
That would have been great. So Austin Dillon is in. Truex is out, right?
Yes.
And Ryan Blaney is in, and we're reset.
Before we get into playoffs, how about that top 10? You had Landon Castle, you had Cody Ware, you had BJ McLeod, all in the top 10. Someone, if you were seeing some of the bets on Twitter, someone won $1 million off a $13.45 bet to have those guys in the top 10. Like, wild. This is the type of racing. This is why I think a lot of people like the super speedway racing. One, because of the carnage. Let's be real. We're Americans. We like destruction. You know what I mean? That's what I'm not. Racing purist Christopher Lynn over here is gonna say, and I get it. I'm with you, but general audience, it's what they like. And then two, you get a lot of parity with it. You get these guys that run 30th every week that have a shot at the top 10 or even a win. So shout out to them. I don't know. Good run for them.
No, I agree, and I think you see this every time we go to a super speedway. At this point, you get Corey LaJoy, and Michael McDowell was a surprise for all. Even David Reagan in subpar equipment. is a
David
good
Reagan
player,
was another
right.
right.
So like you get those guys, and there are two sides of that. I think I've as a fan of, I don't like it because they're not more talented that week. Like it did make these guys more talented to be up there and running. It does equalize the cars more, but I'm not here for participation medals. And hey, you showed up to this race, so when everyone else crashes, you get fourth. I don't like it. It is not pure racing. But I
you
think
got to give them.
we've all come to expect that they're going to destroy 30 race cars. Like who?
You got to give them
who's left
a little
is
bit of
who's
credit.
left.
gotta give them a little bit of credit for not
for being
trying
slow enough to miss all the other ones.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think
They're not
same
even up
time,
there to race.
there's
into it.
still certain guys. Obviously, that top 10 doesn't have, I would say, these guys for the most part. But there's still that other group that's a tier above them that can show up to these races. We saw like the front row cars get first and second there years ago with Reagan and McDowell. It can be done. That was tandem drafting days. But like these guys, they were only there because they were too slow to be in the wreck. But there is a tier above it where like a Corey LaJoy is really good at this style of racing, or a Bubba Wallace is really good at this style of racing. And
it
they
does
still
give
get
them
taken
their
out.
best shot.
Right.
It does give those guys their best shot. Ricky Stenhouse, he's another one of those guys. Even Keselowski, I mean, the performance of their cars wouldn't say, oh, he's going to go win Charlotte. But you put Keselowski in a plate race, he's going to be a competitive car, right? Like I'm in for that. These other guys,
Right.
it's
different.
fantasy. It's fantasy land. They survived.
Sure.
But, I mean, good for their teams for sure.
Yeah. I think that's good.
Didn't necessarily have
Big
torn up race cars
money.
and have great finishes.
And a bunch of money. The thing about it, because I mean, I know they're still like chartered and stuff, but still 2 top 10s, no damage. It's a good week. They got steaks.
Yeah.
We're steak and lobsters for dinner, boys.
Yeah.
So, one more thing before we get in the playoffs. The rain. It like we said, they were racing hard for because they knew weather was in there. You could see it on TV. Some drivers were saying it was raining for 2 laps before that. The cameras, when they were during the rain delay, they went back and showed some replays. They're showing the laps before. There was no raindrops on any of the cameras or anything. But as soon as they got into that turn, you just saw the rain. What do you expect NASCAR to do there? Did they do anything wrong, basically, is what I'm asking.
Yes. And here's why. They saw it coming. You just had an issue at New Hampshire last year. Very similar thing where they set to turn 1 and wrecked them all. The year before that, Harvick still. In this case, you could, on the one camera shot from NBC, you could see the rain right outside the track. You know it's coming. It is imminent. Just stop the race. Especially if you have no intention of calling it there. Like, they were pushing to get it done. I get it. But you're still 40 laps to the end. Stop the race. Just suspend it. You have all day. You end up doing it anyway. So now you had to restart the race because you didn't suspend it. You wrecked the whole field. And now it almost feels like more of a waste of time because you have 10 shit cars, a broken Truex, a broken Blaney, and you waited 3.5 hours for it. When you could have just stopped 10 laps earlier and be like, you know what? It's going to hit. Let's just wait it out. Like, it's a different mindset, but still. They did it at Watkins Glen last week. And they had rain tires.
If there's fault, it's in NASCAR's hands. There's a guy to push the button. But I think that they've done this a lot. They've heard people say rain, 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 rain. But who is it coming from? Are they trusted sources? And did he hit the button fast enough? Obviously not. You look at the in-car cameras, there's a certain amount of raindrops they can withstand. I think we all agree going 200 miles an hour, a few raindrops looks like a lot of rain.
Yes.
Now, look at the in-car cameras of the cars. A little bit on the tri-oval a lot before. No. The wreck was in 1 or 3.
It was going in 1.
Going into 1. Maybe it was coming, the tri-oval the lap before, maybe there was a couple, and then you go all the way around, there was nothing, and it's split second. Okay? I don't care if the guy on the billboard that's a NASCAR worker says rain, he would have had basically no time.
It's over at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we're not there. None of us were. There's going to be reports from all over the infield, all the know-it-alls that were in Daytona. I was there, and I told NASCAR from the infield with my hand raised that it was raining, right? Like, okay, NASCAR, what do they do? And NASCAR has had a history of screwing this up.
Yep.
Totally on board. They cost Harvick a championship, in my opinion, that year.
Right.
But sitting there watching what I did get to see, it happened so fast, right? And the spotters knew. The spotters were talking about it. Hey, we think it's here. We think it's here. Do not lift. What are they going to do? They got to be leading when it does happen.
Mhm.
If it does, if it never does, and it never happens, and Justin Haley backs out of that, and goes to 14th, what's he supposed to do?
Right.
Like, what are they supposed to do? That whole field was going to go in there as hard as they could, until the yellow flag came out.
Right. And I think part of that too is on NASCAR also. When that rain fell, did not every one of us, including probably everyone in Daytona, think that was the end of that race? We're not going to wait any amount of time beyond rather quick. So the drivers, if they would have said that morning, we're gonna run this thing in its entirety, no matter when the rain comes, because you knew it. I
They
think
don't
that
need to
changed that
say
mindset.
that. They
That
don't need
should
to say that.
that
They
should
are
everybody change
there.
the mindset a little bit.
No, they don't
They
need to
can't
say
predict
that
the weather.
because they had all day to get that race in. They are going to try to get every single lap in. They don't need to go and remind everybody of that. Not in my opinion.
And they may have at the drivers' meeting again. There's a lot we don't know sitting here.
Right. I'm just
If
saying.
there's any fault of anybody, it would be on NASCAR if they actually got a trusted source, knew it, said it, and
Mhm.
didn't do anything. I don't believe that's the case because I
No.
know that it's Daytona. They don't really try to screw around with rain at Daytona going 200 miles an hour.
But they were
They
dodging it
screw
all.
around
Right.
and really, I mean, again, none of us were there to get how fast the reports came or what it was or if they're using visuals. They could see it raining off the corner in turn one for probably an hour. They could see it raining or for 10 minutes because it moved in from that side. And then the ones I was showing you guys in our the radar things from in the Discord, the ones that were right along the coast that were hugging the track by a few blocks
Mhm.
all afternoon. They
Yep.
could have seen that all afternoon, but it didn't drop at the
Yeah.
track.
If they would have went by the radar all day, they would have never have gotten
They
more
would
than
have never,
50 laps in.
yeah, they would maybe halfway, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Called the race and sent everybody home, and who
Mhm.
knows was leading at that point. So the fault would definitely lie because it sucks that it happened.
Hmm.
It would lie with NASCAR, but I don't know. I mean, I guess the 2020 vision, the stories are going to come out over time that maybe this isn't over,
Hmm.
but I don't know if they mess around with Daytona with rain.
Yeah. The only thing I could think of that they could have did differently was maybe throw a yellow, since it was so close. Maybe the lap or
Right.
two
Something
before.
like that. Yeah.
But
Just to
I
slow
don't
it down,
think
just
it
for the
was-
wait.
Yeah, but they were
As fast
dodging
as
it
it's
all
moving,
day,
going and moving, yeah. I don't know.
and some and for how hot and humid it is, and
Right.
it was raining for the first 20 laps, but it was never reaching the track. You know, it was maybe getting to their windshield. It wasn't doing anything to weten the track, so it could have did the same thing. You don't know. It was just sporadic,
I think-
isolated weather.
I saw on Twitter somewhere talking about the Charlotte or the Daytona road course last year, where they threw the caution when they wanted to go because they thought it was raining,
Hmm.
and then nobody pitted. So it's the other side. They threw the caution, and like, well, why'd you do that? So I mean, it's give and
Yeah,
take.
exactly.
But I
They're
think the
not
road
gonna-
course is obviously different than the
Yeah,
pack
but-
that Daytona 3 wide in the
but-
turn one. But same idea.
They were in a no-win situation there, and they did what they could to try to get the race. And it sucks that a lot of cars were tore up. And I do think you're right to an extent, Chris, where it's like, you know what, we should probably driver safety, man. You know, those are some hard licks.
Yeah,
I mean, nobody's talking about how Stenhouse was basically on top of
Yeah, he damn
Almirola.
near
You know
went.
what I mean?
like up and over and God knows where.
You know, and so it was a hard wreck, and you probably want to avoid that at all costs if you can, even if that means running 5 or 6 pace laps to see if it's going to rain. But hindsight's 2020. Maybe they learn from it and get better. I don't think they did anything inherently wrong. I just, they were in a
Yeah,
bad position.
It wasn't egregious and obvious, but it was a lot of rain in a very, very quick amount of time.
Mhm.
That like super sudden. So the only thing they could really do is be more err on the side of caution. Say, hey, rain's right outside the track. Let's chill into turn one, right? Guys coming to the line there or something. For sure. I mean, they could have always done that and not put these guys at risk, but I don't think they knew they were putting them at risk by doing it. So by letting it go.
Right, and my thought was now we do know that in that situation. I mean, you learn from it. That's how they've gotten this safe over the years, was learning from past things. This is now a trend, in my opinion. So let's do something different next time, even if it's annoying at that time. Next time.
And when they do err on the side of caution and people complain about it, just point to this.
Right.
You point to this. You
Yeah,
point to New Hampshire. You
Right.
say this is why we did it. All right, let's get into the playoffs then. As we already talked about, Ryan Blaney gets into the playoffs. Truex does not, thanks to Austin Dillon winning. Let's take a look at the standings going in and give some kind of predictions going into it. We were going to do this with Josh. Since Josh isn't going to be here for a few weeks, we really wanted to get his outlook on all the playoffs, but we're going to do it anyway. So, taking a quick look at the standings. How this is a reset now for the top 16. You have Chase Elliott with a good cushion. Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson, they're pretty safe, I would say, into the next round unless something catastrophic happens. 5th through 8th, even Kevin Harvick. I mean, they're kind of really from 5th down to 16th. There's less than 10 points separating these guys. It's 10 spots. It's tight. There is no gimmies here. Going into the first three races are Darlington, Kansas, and Bristol. So let's go around. Looking at this, how it is. Who are your first 4 out? Who wants to go first?
I'd
All right,
go
cool.
first. Yeah,
Oh!
whoever, yeah.
It was a stare down.
We probably had the same. We probably had the same 4. Like,
You think so?
I
Go
don't
ahead.
know. Do you need me to put the graphic back up? I
yeah.
can.
I'm gonna take a picture of it. I don't have it handy. All right.
I have mine memorized.
Oh
I could go first if you want.
no,
Go for
it
it.
sounds like he's
Whatever.
ready to go. Go ahead, buddy.
Cindric's out. Bowman's out. Dillon's out. Briscoe's out.
Well, those are pretty much almost no-brainers.
In the first round, that's what we're talking about, right?
In the first round. round.
So we have Darlington, Kansas, and Bristol.
Yeah, there's no gimmies
Yes.
there. That's
No.
driver tracks.
Cindric, Bowman, because I don't think Bowman. I mean, he's just been
Yeah,
awful.
they've been struggling bad.
Where's William Byron been? Anybody seen him lately?
He was running up there and he got wrecked.
Every time he's in the front, he gets wrecked.
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of what.
Watkins Glen. And
Yeah, I mean,
Indy.
he hasn't had the Chase Elliott or Larson speed in the Hendrick camp, but he has been faster to Bowman, and he has had some crappy luck.
Yeah,
but
he's been
I do
consistent.
agree, he's in a danger zone there.
Okay, so my hot take is Bowman, Cindric, Ryan Blaney, and William Byron.
Wow, you
You're
really
saying
think
Dillon?
Dillon makes it to the next round?
I think he can point his way in, and all it takes is a DNF by a guy you
Yeah.
don't think. And we have Darlington and Bristol. Okay, a
Yeah.
mile and a half. We'll see. Okay, mile and a half. Kansas. Oh, you know what? It would have to be a part failure, right? But
Mhm.
Darlington and Bristol. Look at that, Darlington and Bristol,
Yeah,
right?
my
So
thought was those guys would be the DNFs in those races. The
I
ones I
mean,
took.
well, and listen, I think that's the consensus among everybody, but I'm not
Right.
here to play it by the rules and do it the same way. I think if you look at the history of this and the season, they're the least performing consistently cars. Yeah. But now this is about wins and finishing races. And it doesn't take
And-
much, as i.e. Kevin Harvick at Texas that year with the rain.
Mm-hmm.
One race,
It's all
you can be
it takes.
done.
And
You the odd man out.
and you got to have consistently good finishes. You got to be top 10, pretty much.
So
Right.
if we have Austin Dillon the next 3 races goes 12th, 12th, and 12th, and you have William Byron goes 6th, 8th, and DNF.
Depends on stage points too, doesn't it?
I mean,
They have
They're only
playoff
9
points too that
points
can carry over.
And
they're
there's
9
no,
points. They're 9 points apart.
They're
on that,
9 points apart. Yeah.
right? Like you get
Right, I mean,
Austin Dillon
it's tight as
12th and
hell, don't
William
get me wrong.
Byron 38th, right? So it doesn't take much for a guy other than Elliott, Logano, Chastain, and Larson probably. Doesn't take much, and you've seen Kevin Harvick wreck at Texas and not be on to the next round.
I was gonna float that out there. With how much shit Ross Chastain has gotten into this year, I could totally see him getting into it with somebody at Bristol.
Who are your 4? Who are your 4? You didn't go yet.
Dillon, Cindric, Briscoe, and Bowman. I guess you're same. I was gonna put Christopher Bell in there, but I was just gonna say I'm biased.
That's
I
just because
I
you're a
looked at
shit
that name
talker.
too. Here's the
The
other
first
thing.
round's the easy
the
one
only-
to pick,
the only
usually.
the only
Unless
reason-
something happens like Jeremy
Yeah.
says.
The only reason I'm very hesitant on Briscoe is because I think he's pretty decent at Darlington, and I think he'll have a shot at Bristol.
I was just thinking the exact same thing. Briscoe and Bristol. It
Mhm.
could happen, right? I mean, it's track position. I don't know the qualifying,
I
whatever,
think
but
he's been too mistake prone.
I
the summer
agree.
months. Like early in the year when he was up there every week and kind of I guess the Bristol Dirt Race when things kind of turned for him, he went for it. I mean, I guess he won after that or before that. Either way, he went for it, and ever since then he hasn't been the same guy. And I don't know. It could just be overanalyzing it, but Harvick's improving.
You're analyzing it right.
One thing that we're all in agreement on, though, it seems like, because right now, if you let points as they stand going into this, Daniel Suarez would be on the chopping block, but we're all in agreement that
he's
makes
been the most consistent guy. He has speed. He's actually looked better than Chastain the last few weeks, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not just because Chastain's
he's top 10 every week. He just doesn't always have the finishes, which is what matters at the end. Don't get me wrong.
I like Suarez's cars at all three tracks. I mean,
yep.
And the whole Chastain thing, I don't think anybody takes him out in the first three races.
No, I know what round they're getting his ass in.
Oh, I think they wait.
No, if anybody's going to wait till their chances are done.
Oh, it comes down to a cut line in the next round. When it comes down to the cut and you're at Martinsville or Talladega or I don't even know what the schedule is there, but you come down to those races and Chastain's still in it and running up front and he's in front of you and you're the guy he's going to knock out. You're Hamlin, you're Bell, you're Larson, Logano. I mean,
with Ross, I don't even think it's necessarily a somebody's going to take you out thing. I think we've seen it how many times this year where he's just overdrove too early in the race and has gotten into an incident, and it could ruin one of his races by doing that, by him driving too hard and getting himself into a situation, not necessarily where he gets wrecked by anybody else, but just wrecks him in another car. So I think he's definitely somebody that kind of watch out for. He could be the upset out real quick.
Oh, I think the upset out is Joey Logano.
Ooh,
I won't be upset.
I mean, early season wins. I mean, I'm rooting for it. Early season wins, but since then what?
Yeah, he's basically a ghost. Or an idiot, because he's either like up there and being an idiot, or he's a ghost.
The quietest 7th to 12th place runs all year, with some DNFs, right? So,
but that would get you pretty close to the round of 4 if he continues to do that. He does find himself there at the end.
I agree.
You know what I mean? He has been also one of those guys since he has a win to take those weird gambles on pitch strategy to go get a stage win, which is one reason why he's in second. Go get the stage win for the playoff points rather than worrying about the end of the race. He's been one of those guys that's consistently done that. So I think that's part of it.
I like not a dominant car going in here. I mean, Chase has been probably the most consistently fast all year.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's had little waves here and there, but like generally speaking, he's there every week. But other than that, I mean, there's a lot of parity there.
Well, and we're gonna go into round of 12 here, because. So let's say, I think our consensus is definitely Bowman, Cindric out.
Yeah, I just typed
We're on the
now.
I'll roll with your 4. Let's go with that. I'll play along.
Bowman, Cindric, Briscoe, and Dillon.
Yeah.
And that'd probably put like someone like, I think we're thinking like Byron probably falls down to the end.
Byron, Harvick, Bell.
Yeah. So
Suarez.
Going into that round of 12, which is Texas, Talladega, Roval.
What a shitty round.
You have Bowman, Cindric, Dillon, Briscoe out, is what we're saying. That leaves you Elliott, Logano, Chastain, Larson, Byron, Hamlin, Blaney, Reddick, Harvick, Bell, Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez. Who's the next 4 out?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Kyle Busch, Suarez.
Oof.
Almost.
No, you know what? Leave Suarez because the road course and take Harvick out.
No. Yeah, I mean,
because Harvick is Talladega.
Suarez is what I thought.
He's trash at road courses. Now they've had good road course cars this year. So Harvick, if he doesn't get Chase Elliott this year and they don't have a problem, Harvick can finish top 10 there. But traditionally the results aren't there. Texas is a shot to win a race to move forward. And I think Harvick's on the chopping block again.
I think Kyle Busch, by then we'll know where he's going next year, and I don't think it's with Toyota, and that means his championship run ends the next round.
I don't think that's going to have anything to do with it.
I do.
I don't think
maybe he just doesn't want it anymore. I mean, why is Larson not out of your run yet? I mean, he's just not into it. He just doesn't want it.
I think if anything, that might make Kyle Busch push harder because this might be his last shot.
Well, not that he
depending on where he goes.
It's just those teams when you see these guys, start cutting him out of meetings and stuff like that.
I don't
Yeah,
think
we don't know. Maybe go back to Joe Gibbs is all moot point. But I still think Kyle Busch is out. I think Byron's in trouble unless he wins Talladega. I like Suarez to stay in it because between all those races, he'll have speed. Blaney won the All-Star race at Texas, right? Is that what happened?
Yes.
So I think he's going to be okay. And being a Ford, I think that makes Harvick still going to be okay. I don't know. So Byron, who did I say?
I think you went Byron,
Bush.
Did
think
you
Larson's
say
out.
Reddick?
No,
You said Larson?
Larson. He's a surprise fallout there because he's going to get junked or blow up at Talladega again.
I was say that's a rough round for him. It's always been.
Texas, he's got speed there. I mean, it's not, but we're talking about all these guys have speed there. They can't all win. And he hasn't had the great finishes lately. Outside that win of the Glen, he's been a guy that's in precarious situations. That's my surprise pick out of that round of.
I don't hate that actually.
So Larson, Byron, Bush.
Who else?
Logano. I think Logano.
God.
I think Blaney stays. Blaney's got the pressure off now. He can go back to just like driving the damn race car. Get a win. He moves on. He gets hot. I don't know. Fuck Logano anyway.
All right, I go Christopher Bell number 1. First of
Oh, I
all,
forgot about him.
I
I think Bush stays. Bell's out.
think Bell, Byron,
Getting tough up
Blaney.
here.
Byron, Blaney, Bell, Kyle Busch. Kyle Keene, what's up? Out here.
What's up, dude?
I think I left that up long enough. Yeah, that's who I'm going with. I do not hate the Larson pick.
But he could also go out and win a race there.
He could.
Whenever
He
his
could.
talent
He's
comes back.
not bad at Roval. Talladega's
It's a real-
really the super speedways are his Achilles heel.
Didn't he win the Roval last year? I mean, he won everything last year. That's why he fell off this
Did he
year.
win the Roval last year? He's always been good there, except for that one time he had a broken car and limped it across and made it to the next round. But which was the first one. But he's always been kind of running up there.
Talladega's the one that could upset someone's playoff the quickest, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody knows that they want to have a win going to Talladega, right?
Mhm.
Every car left wants to have a win going to Talladega, so they don't have to worry about it.
Larson's finished a plate or Tabor Space, whatever.
He's
Super
had
Speedway
so much.
race.
He hasn't even wrecked out of the races. He's been
No, he's
blown up half
broken.
the time. Yeah.
It's almost like he's Cole Trickle just blowing it up because he's afraid of that race car.
Yeah, it's because I pick him at DraftKings. I mean, why would he not get caught up in a wreck and just blow up?
It's because he doesn't have the fire anymore. He just doesn't care. He
Yeah.
won a championship.
His
won
engines
Scorpio
don't have it either.
Nationals.
He wanted to get out of Daytona
Royal,
like everybody else.
won
So he's like, you know what, screw
PhD
this. I'm out.
week. He won Chili Bowl. He has
Right.
nothing else to race for
He's
anymore.
actually focused on the National Open. That's what he's doing.
That's true.
His engines knew he doesn't have it, and doesn't have that 1-2 anymore, so they decided to give up 2.
Yeah, it's just like I don't have the one either as a motor. I just don't have that
Chase
one
out they can
anymore.
have it.
So maybe what's easier here then to try to go through and figure out who's going to be knocked out of the next round. Let's just go straight into playoff 4 predictions then. So because after Texas, Talladega, Roval, which is going to be a shit show, you got Las Vegas, Homestead, and Martinsville. Who do we think our last 4 in to that championship race at
You're
Phoenix?
first on that one.
I think Hamlin,
Oh, fuck him too.
Elliott. Man, I really don't think Chastain gets in there. Harvick, Hamlin, Elliott,
Whoa!
Larson.
Wow!
I think those are your 4. With a real, it's Logano and Reddick are really, because they could both win a race to get themselves in there. But if Larson is in that round of 8, he wins Homestead. He is so good. Him or Reddick win Homestead, without a doubt. So, and of course, I'm gonna give that edge a little bit to Larson. So I think your final four is Hamlin, Harvick, Larson, Elliott. I think Harvick's been showing that speed. Those are decent tracks for him. I just think they're on a roll.
You want to go, Chris? You want me to go?
I can go. Mine's gonna be different than yours. I can already tell, just from your reaction to his. So I'm gonna go Harvick. I'm gonna go Chastain, Reddick, Elliott. Reddick and Chastain are hyper aggressive. They will find a way to win somewhere, somehow.
They're gonna have.
And
Harvick
Harvick is gonna old man this thing. Up there, the teams, like you said, hitting at the right time, and they're going to some of his better tracks, so they figured some things out. Like Hamlin's gonna find a way to step on it. He's been how many times has he been backwards in the last month and a half? Still found a way back up through there, which is good for him. But sooner or later you're gonna junk your shit doing that, and you're done. And it's been almost all year. He's found a way backwards.
He's very good at Martinsville. Very good at Martinsville. Would not shock me to see him win Martinsville.
Yeah, if he gets out front, no one's gonna be able to pass him.
Yeah, that's how you win races, bud.
No, look at William Byron. Look at William Byron. Like, he couldn't touch a dude for 400 laps.
That's how you win races, bud. You get out in front of all the other cars and you cross the line first. That's how you win races.
Physically, they're going to be incapable of passing him.
All right, Jay-Z, hit us with your final four.
So there's one road course in this chase, right?
Roval, baby.
Okay. So I had Harvick in the chopping block in that round, right, with the Texas Roval race. If he makes it out of that, he's in the final four.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to go Harvick, Reddick, Elliott, Hamlin. So, I mean, Hamlin's just going to... They've had the speed, right?
Battle here.
Can Hamlin literally go 36 races with a mistake, multiple mistakes in every one of them? Like, it has to end, and they got to put it together. When he puts it together, he probably wins 8 races this year. I mean, maybe not that much, but like 5 races if he doesn't have this shit happen, whether it's himself or his pit crew. I just don't think it can happen over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
So he finds a way. Harvick finds a way if he gets through that round.
I'm with you on that because with the Roval is a toss-up, but you got Texas and Talladega, which Harvick is pretty good at. Like, Harvick's a sneaky good super speedway racer, and I know Texas is different, but he's still pretty good there. So I'm with you on that. I think if he makes it out of that round, he's in the final four.
Yeah, and I think Reddick can win the Roval.
He could win any one of those races.
He can win any one.
He can win all these damn races.
Reddick's a threat everywhere at this point.
Ovals or road courses.
Yes.
Chastain to me is not.
Yep.
But
he's a road course this year. Right now he's winning a road course races, right?
But he also won an oval race. He won Dega, right? I guess that counts. But he's been fast at the ovals too, other than wrecking his car.
But did he win one?
Talladega.
That doesn't count. You know it doesn't. Stop it. All right, Peter Pan. All right, I'm playing make believe here. This is real life. Anybody can win Talladega. I could guess a non-chase racer wins Talladega.
Nah, Cody Ware,
someone not in the chase.
Cody Ware can't win Talladega.
There's a lot of other guys not in the chase.
He found a way to not win Daytona.
You may not have heard.
You said
not the case.
You said anyone could win Talladega before saying anyone not in chase. Cody Ware cannot.
Anyone can win Talladega. You're right. I am right. So that's my final. I doubt. Harvick's had a really good end of the season. He's been fast. He's won at Michigan, and he won back-to-back. Where was the other one?
Harvick won
New Hampshire, wasn't it? Richmond.
No.
Richmond. 2 different kind of tracks, slower, big speed. If he can get through that Roval round, he has a really good shot, and he's good at Phoenix. So
I think Harvick wins at Texas. I could see that happen.
I could see it happening as much as I hate that track, but I think that would be. I don't know if now the industry and generally would pick Harvick in the Final Four, but the way they've finished the season, as well as I know that team, they'll figure it out. Like when they're the favorite, they found a way to not win it. When they've been not the favorite, that's when it's their time to shine. So it'll be fun.
I think this is going to be the craziest playoffs that have ever been. And I know playoffs are like a bad word for Chris, but This is gonna be one because this I have never seen. I don't remember the points being this tight. Yeah, they have the bonus points from the regular season, but Chase Elliott is by no means even safe. You know what I mean? He gets wrecked at say he has a bad Darlington, and he goes into Talladega and gets wrecked early. He's not a lock for anything. So it's pretty wild how the format is and how close it is right now, because anyone in that top, from 4th to 16th right now could be knocked out in this first round for sure, and then
Or win.
or win, and then puts those other guys in the top 4 right now at a real pressure situation. So I like Harvick to win something here, really give him a boost here. I think Larson does. I think some of those guys that got the momentum in there. And I like Hamlin. I just think Hamlin. I know he has had a lot of mistakes and this and that would be the thing that shoots him in the foot. But man, he is. I think he's been by far and wide the fastest Toyota car out of everybody, and has been up there just as fast as someone like Chase Elliott and Chastain and everything, obviously. So yeah, the Final Four is going to be. So we're all in on Chase Elliott though in the Final Four.
Yeah.
Are we saying he's going to be our champion?
I am.
No.
In that Final Four, yeah, I think he does.
Nope.
Because he won't make a mistake.
I mean, I think he had a
Now,
good
at Phoenix with Harvick there, yeah. I mean, with Harvick there at
Harvick
Phoenix.
and Hamlin. If we can get Phoenix to have a little bit of tire wear and it's hopefully hot, I'll take Harvick and Hamlin's chances as good as anybody's.
Right, we can't make championship picks. We know who's there. Because, I mean, under my 4,
I can. Denny Hamlin.
go to hell.
Kevin Harvick.
I could see Harvick too. I'm not pulling for anybody regardless. I mean, but
Says the guy in the Larson hat.
obviously I'm pulling for Larson, but I don't think he has the best shot this year. I think he's been good. I think he's definitely a top 5 car this year, despite what our eyes might tell us. But I definitely think he's been there. I just think this is a Hamlin year. I just think this is the year he finally gets it done.
Well, Mark Martin gets it done.
That he could get that monkey off his back then.
Yeah, but I agree though. If we get the Phoenix and there's Harvick, Hamlin, and Elliott there, that's no cupcake race. No matter who's the 4th car, if it's Reddick, Chastain, Larson, like you get down there, just like stick a ball sports, and they're whatever. You're gonna have your best guys there. It's gonna be tough. So
Tell us more about stick and ball sports, Chris.
yeah, you should go find some and play it, bitch.
Tell us how much you love the playoffs.
Playoffs are great.
No, come on. We got the Fire Off logo up there. You're firing off all day.
Come on, Sherry
Told you.
Pollack. Tell
I
us
told
about
you
it.
earlier, it's not worth my breath because it's never gonna change.
Yes, it is.
We're gonna
Uh-oh.
change.
We don't have a fire off segment here. I think he's not going to do it. We can't do it. Like the
Can't-
shuttle
can't coach
today,
me.
you won't fire off, buddy.
Tell us how much you love the playoffs.
What's the issue with
Playoffs
the
are great.
playoffs? I missed this.
Why don't you like the playoffs?
It just doesn't seem fair. I like whole season points, consistency all year long. I get the marketing of it, but it's never
Do
going
you
to change.
believe? Do you agree Talladega was better with the drama of the playoffs?
Daytona. Yeah.
I'm
Either
sorry,
way.
Daytona.
No, I think it's the same thing either way. I mean, the problem with like Daytona and Talladega, you have it not in your hands. There was sure strategy-wise, Blaney or Truex could have babied it, ran the back, but outside that, you can't win those races on your own. There's no, I don't know. And you have what 6 of them now between Atlanta being on there. More reason not to have a playoff.
Fire off, God damn it! Look at
Jeremy
Tater,
told me
Gator,
long ago.
Bader.
He told me long. Make sure it's worth it. This one isn't worth it.
What do you mean?
It's not worth it.
What do you mean it's not worth it?
It's never
We
going
had
to change.
15 winners.
Right.
Everyone knows now it's not new. We got to win to get in.
Right.
They
That's
had
what I'm saying. It's
26
not worth.
races to win a
It's
race.
not worth debating because it's never going to change back.
If you're not first, finish it, Chris.
You got a tinfoil hat on because you listen to SiriusXM
You're not-
radio.
If you're not first, you're last. Damn it!
If Kurt Busch doesn't
Gotta
have
win.
a waiver, if Kurt Busch doesn't eliminate his waiver this week, you have 2nd and 4th in points, no longer in the championship battle. And those teams are far superior than Cindric, Dillon, guys like that. Even Bowman at this point.
But did they win?
It doesn't take away the point I'm making. If Larson doesn't win the championship last year, he had the best year. He got lucky because of a caution with 20 to go at Phoenix. Saved his ass.
What does that have to do with playoffs?
He should have been in that situation to begin with. Just like Harvick in 2020. These other guys, I get the drama. It's just not it. I don't like it. There's no fire off here. I told you this when we started earlier. I wasn't doing it.
Lame.
Told you, we have another chance. Because there's like 17 more topics we're going to fight about.
Like what?
Well, Josh Aaron lost one because he said it was the best Daytona race ever.
Yeah, he was a little wild on that, but it was a good Daytona race. I thought, despite everything,
he
I
said
thought
it was an all-time Daytona classic, one of the best he's ever watched.
For wrecked cars.
No, this is what he was coming on to fight me on today. This was going to be fire off
All right,
segment
good.
one.
Here we go. Fire off then. Tell
No,
Josh Aaron.
I don't even know why he liked it. I don't even know
fire
why
off
he
from
liked
Josh
it.
Aaron.
There you go.
He,
Fire off
he
from Josh
couldn't
Aaron for not
say.
being here. No, he just wanted to get us pissed off, and then we were going to get pissed Jimmy off in the dirt section, which we really need to get to, because that's when
Why?
Jimmy's going to fire off.
What am I
Can't
gonna
tell you.
fire up out in the dirt
Oh,
section?
I'll find a way. I'll bait you into it, just like you're trying to do me.
Are you
right now.
got,
This
I
is
mean,
not an all-time classic Daytona race, though, unless you like seeing a parking lot.
I guess I should probably
And Cody Ware.
fire off
Say
about
it.
Cody Ware.
No, Cody Ware didn't do anything wrong. For once, other than not make a good time block.
All right. Are we done
Josh Aaron's
talking
wrong.
about R.I.P. Josh Aaron?
That's a stupid take.
Yeah, I don't know.
Shouts out Jeremy
That was the
Clemens.
most aggressive line he had after we were done.
It's just like-
Stupid take.
I told him that on the phone yesterday. I'm like,
Big dummy head.
idiot, you're such a stupid ass. And he knew it too. He knew he said it with the intent of getting me pissed off last
He
night.
was. Let's just let this be
He had
known.
one for you too. He was,
What do
I forget what it is.
Why is
He was-
everybody always trying to get me fired up, man? Like,
He
'Cause
is
it's easy?
He
you
came into this podcast idea
guys,
today.
Danny Dietrich, like they're all just trying to piss me off, and it's just I don't
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Jimbo.
You should have had your name as Jimbo on here
Oh,
tonight.
I could just change it now. Hold on.
Like he was all amped up about the show today, and then about how he's gonna get us all worked up, and how this is the best Daytona race, and Sheldon Hodenshow was gonna come in here, and like what the hell are you going on about?
Throw his helmet at Jimmy.
Thanks, Double D. We'll talk about that later. Fucking asshole.
See, I told you there's gonna be more fire offs. I know what's coming. I know he's
I
not
was-
gonna control himself.
I wasn't
I
gonna.
know
I wasn't gonna
I
fire
watched
off
it
about
Saturday
it.
night. I saw it Saturday night. He fired off about it.
All right, let's take a break, and then we'll reset and we'll talk. We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk the week in dirt racing here. World of Outlaws, kind of mostly PA dirt here with the All Star Circuit champions. We're also gonna recap the Dirty Old Bastards, Knoxville Nationals, and talk some other iRacing stuff. And then drink it to dump it. If you guys are in the chat, please put them in the chat. We'll be right back in a few minutes.
Where are we going?
Tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terror Boys over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
All right, guys, welcome back. Here is our photo of the week, presented by Jeremy Zarfos Photography. This is Justin Peck taking the win at Lincoln Speedway on Saturday night. We were all there. He did a lot of this. He did a lot of beer chugging on the wing this week as he took down 3 out of the 5 PA races for the All-Star Circuit of Champions in dominating fashion, too. I mean, he led almost every lap of those wins. He was very, very good. Got a couple more photos here. This one was a pretty sick one. You got Bill Baylog passing Troy Wagaman on the front stretch at Lincoln. Get that nice lift there on Baylog's car. And then, of course, FDS.
You flash
just us walking in the pits.
It's like a warning signal. It's like the FDS bat signal. He'll be in the chat in no time.
But it was FDS's birthday on Saturday, and we had a very good time at Lincoln Speedway. So yeah, that was that. So very eventful weekend. It was good. Seeing some people and everything. Where do I? So I guess let's just start at the beginning of the week. All-Star Circuit of Champions went to Bloomsburg on Wednesday night. I was there. Brett, our guest last week, finished 4th and was fucking ripping, man. He was awesome. We got to hang out with him in the pits a little bit throughout the night. Track was a little rough, just to say the least.
A little rough.
So it was a little rough, yeah.
I didn't know Monster Jam was there on Wednesday.
Listen, Chris.
That's what Danny told me. Monster Jam was there on Wednesday.
Chris fucking Dietrich over here.
It was like the buck down here in southern PA, or the mud bogs and the tractor pulls and stuff, or what? What was going on?
It wasn't that bad. I mean, it was bad in spots. Don't get me wrong. Walked the track after.
I mean, just because it's your kid,
We got
say it's not that bad.
in the defense of the track. It was a pond in the infield. They could. We got Monday and Tuesday leading up to Wednesday. We've gotten hit with basically rainstorms like Daytona was getting hit with, and we haven't seen rain in a while. So I just don't think the track took the moisture. It kept it heavy all night, and then with the 410s on there, it just dug into the track. They tried to do what they could. They tilled it a bunch. They tried to rework it. Last week, it was basically the same weather, just without all the rain before it, and the track was slick and smooth, and for a 4-division show, so it's just unfortunate for them. I know the people that are running the track are giving a lot of effort, and that's not really a great representation of their efforts. But now they have 2 big shows now, because the World of Outlaw late model show was also a shit show because of the same reasons. So they got to figure it out. I will give them that. Danny Dietrich says close the fucking track, and he can S my D. But kind of got into, I don't want to say even got into it. All he did was call me Jimbo. But and I understood his point. He wasn't wrong. The track was rough. I get it. But he also finished 4th, and it wasn't that bad of a race, to be honest. I know it was probably not the most fun for the driver since it was so cowboy up. But, I mean, you go out and race in California every week, it's exactly the same way. Not that I want to see that, but, I mean, it's part of it. It's not like you're not going to see that type of track every once in a while. So, but just Peck won that one with Tyler Courtney 2nd and Anthony Macri in the McGee 11 in 3rd. Macri filled in that 11 for PPM all week and ran pretty well in it. I mean, just... The argument is, would he have won more in the 39M? I don't know. But he ran pretty well in that, and I mean, I think that's a tell sign of what might be to come next year. Not necessarily that's in that car, but that Macri goes somewhere. But we can get into that at another point in time. I don't know if you guys watched Bloomsburg at all on Wednesday. You guys had any thoughts?
Did not watch it. I agree with Danny Dietrich, though.
Go fuck yourself.
I had to run the Hard Knocks night, so I kind of paid attention out of the corner of my eye a little bit. Saw it was rough. I mean, that's part of racing. You know, they didn't plan it that way. That's not a West Coast track. I don't think it's certainly any intentions that it ends up that way. But we all know that if Danny has a good enough car, he thinks he should win, he doesn't. It's someone else's fault. Blame a driver. He's going to blame the track. He's going to blame an official. I mean, it happened twice in the last few days. The same thing at Lincoln Saturday night in his heat race. So it's everyone's fault but his own in those cases. And unfortunately, the industry listens to him, and he puts it on Twitter, so it causes noise. And nobody at Bloomsburg wanted that to happen.
No,
Maybe the best track crew or track crew, the most experienced? Maybe not, but like, shut the place down. Let's not be quite so aggressive and dramatic there, fella.
Yeah.
Like, get over yourself. So
he posted.
Like anyone else, you could have parked your car if you felt unsafe or it was that bad. You could have pulled in. That's your choice. You want to race and finish fourth and then bitch about it? Well, let's save your breath, bud.
Yeah, I think the issue that I took with it was he made one post. He said, "Hey, elbows up track, finished fourth on one of the worst surfaces that I've ever raced on." I'm okay with that. All right, you could criticize it to that point. But then Bridgeport Speedway, who they're racing at the next night, congratulations, Justin Peck, on a good race at Bloomsburg. And he goes, "Are you kidding me? That wasn't a good race. That was horrible." Well, I'm like, bro, like, why are you tearing down a track that hard? Like, you already said it was one of the worst surfaces that you were ever on. You know what I mean? And I guess it was already one of the worst. I get it. Probably was sore. He's old as shit now. Whatever. No, he's not. I'm kidding. But I understand his frustration to an extent, but there's no. He said about shutting the track down for the rest of the season. Well, guess what, buddy? That was the season for them. They have one race during Fair Week. It's 4 cylinders and Legends. I don't even know if that actually happens. There's been a lot of talk. I was a little sensitive to the fact, maybe too, because first of all, home track for me, 5 minutes down the road. Very happy. It's been a dream come true to see them put a track there. I love the place, even with its flaws. But, they're already having a hard enough time keeping that place open because the town doesn't love the dust and the noise and all that. Which, hey, when you make Wednesday and Thursday night shows all year round, you're going to get a lot of bitching, especially when you have no way to block that. So they got to figure that out. They have that. Now they're having a hard time getting cars. There was a good crowd there for a Wednesday night. And, they didn't get a ton of cars, but I didn't think it was that bad. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. I end up tweeting Danny Dietrich back and saying, hey, basically just saying what I said, like, hey, listen, I get it. I get your frustration, but let's calm down on the shut down the track stuff. And he replied to me and said, I'll say what I want. Thanks for the follow, Jimbo. So whatever, man. Go fuck yourself.
I'll say this in support of Bloomsburg. That first All-Star race there,
it was fire.
It was
the first one was
race.
better.
I mean, we all three were there for that one. I had a great time at that place then. I don't know what has changed since then, but
it was the rain. It stayed very tacky all night. They couldn't get it to dry off and slick off. And it was so they just kept digging in, and there was some big rocks that me and Smina walked the track after, and we were pulling some pretty big rocks off the track and throwing them off. So that was part of it. But I get the surface frustration. I'm not trying to defend that much, but that stuff happens. So I don't know. If it was that unsafe, they would have not ran it, and the drivers would have said, "Let's not run it." You know what I mean?
What was that track earlier this year, or was it I-55 where that guy could lay in the rut?
Yeah.
I-55, They could lay down in the rut. Like, come on. Like, it's the first time.
No, and I will say that it was not even nearly that bad. So
right. So Peck wins that, and then we go to Bridgeport, right?
He wins again.
And with some tire delamination issues there.
Yes.
Brent Marks leading the race, and we're all kind of sitting there listening, and like all of a sudden Brent fell off, couldn't get through 3 and 4. Something's wrong. We felt maybe something was broke. Get through lap traffic, and Brent kind of runs him down again, but as soon as Peck cleared lap traffic, he was gone, and then we see Brent sitting still after the yellow. Well, why might that be? Tire delaminated.
Mm-hmm.
Had no grip left on the right rear. So Saw that a few times this weekend. Freddie had one at same place. Did also
Uh,
Bridgeport.
I think so.
In his heat, maybe he hit a tire delaminate. He had a couple other tire issues. Hoosier keeps making themselves look better and better and better all the time. So Peck wins that one going away. I don't think he was ever going to be challenged more than Brent was challenging him that night. And then we head into, I don't know if you have any thoughts on Bridgeport. Track looked good. It was cool. I mean, it got pretty wide out.
I love Bridgeport. I think they did such a good job with that track. It's one of the raciest tracks in the area.
Had some character in the corners, the banking, where you can, either slide up, run the top, diamond it off. The bottom
definitely on my checklist to go check out.
Agreed for sure. Takes us into Friday night, unless y'all want to talk about Bridgeport some more.
Not really.
Friday was the day. Twin 20s, Williams Grove.
Lot going on there.
Lots of stuff to unpack there.
A lot to unpack. I fell asleep. Decided not to go. Fell asleep. Missed the first 20-lap feature. Saw the second half of the second feature. And it turned into a late night due to the unfortunate incident with the MMR Classic cars, which there's been a lot of, I think, aftermath out of that. I think Van May came out and said, look, I think we need to reevaluate. These are parade cars. They're not race cars anymore. We need to not race them like race cars. I don't know if you all saw that or not.
Well, he also lost a tire, didn't he?
Yeah.
He lost a wheel broke. So
5 minutes before then, I guess there was talk where he made contact with somebody off 2, and then he went to 3, and the wheel just went off. They were, from being there, they got off to a rough start. So they did motor heats, and then they didn't do motor heats for the 410 sprint cars and brought all these guys down. A couple just different chatter, but I guess a fuel pump broke is what they're saying, and they couldn't get fuel out.
The fuel at the track broke, so they had to bring fuel in from other places. So that's why they were on track so long as it was during that stretch.
And so they kept putting them out there for different lengths of time. Did a lot of cars. They were rotating through different flights, but I mean they were out there for 20, 30 laps. You put a driver out there in anything remotely fast and tell them to go have at it. You were seeing, not even counting the incident on the backstretch, there was guys going 3 wide through 3 and 4. Like top, middle, bottoms. They got comfortable, and I think that's
too comfortable.
That I think Van made spot on with that. Like, these don't do that. Like, know your role. I know everyone wants to have fun and stuff, but like there was some sketchy stuff before the incident that could have been bigger too. In fact, I was watching the 461 go around the outside of 2 guys in 3 and 4 when the incident happened right beside me. So.
Yeah, I think you had very much a difference in speed of some of those cars and the ability of some of those drivers. And there were too many on the track at one time. And they kind of let them have free reign. And I think as they got more comfortable, they got more aggressive. And people that are watching this, if you didn't see it at home, it's not a replay it's out there. It's unfortunate. I mean, the gentleman did not lose his life, thankfully, so it's probably going to be played more. But at the time, I think there was a consensus around the area of a very, very sad outcome there. Yeah. And which, we never ever want to see, but I think it could have been avoided. I think it should have been thought out better. Probably lucky it hasn't happened before this in some of those cars. Kudos to the people that restore them, put them together, hopefully check them out. I mean, I don't know how that all works, but this wasn't, I don't think, a car failure. But it was just a dangerous situation, and it reared its ugly head, unfortunately, and it was a long break, so it got to be a late evening. Thankfully, this sounds like the guy's going to make a full recovery. Wayne, I think his name is. But super scary situation for sure for a little bit. It was pretty touch and go there for a few minutes from, Chris. Chris was PMing us a little bit, and Dakota was there. A lot of contacts at the racetrack. It was super, super scary.
Yeah, for sure. Being right there, obviously, it was the weirdest atmosphere ever. Hopefully we won't see it again. But yeah, from what they said at Lincoln, full recovery is expected. So that's great to hear, considering how it started. But yeah,
let's move on to the good stuff.
Yeah, they canceled their Lincoln appearance on Saturday, and I just saw earlier before we went on air that they also canceled their BAP laps. So, so I guess maybe they're scaling back. I don't know if it's because of weather, or what, but. One thing I wanted to say on that was that there are some cars there that they're really 40 years old, these cars, and they restored them. But then you have cars that are from the 90s You know,
Right.
and maybe even the early 2000s that are out there ripping. You know,
Right.
that you could almost put out there.
That's kind of what was happening. That's what I was gonna say. There was a 461, the Dyer 461 that Lance Weiss in the 90s, and he was ripping around outside. And you have anywhere all the way from that sprint car down to a Sportsman to a 60 street stock or late model, whatever it was. And it's cool to see them. And if they were just parading around, all being like spaced out and just being, I guess, responsible for themselves, probably not an issue. But you turn them loose and them boys have at it right away.
Listen, I'm probably on the minority on this, but I love seeing them rip around. I think it's cool. But yeah,
Everybody would like to see
there's
it,
an
for sure.
obvious danger factor there, and I get it. But I don't know if you go and maybe you put less cars out there, do more sessions with like 2 or 3 cars, so they can't even get around each other. And if they do, they have plenty of room. But I hope they don't take away them going at speed. I hope they don't take that away, but in the future. Let's get to Lincoln. Lincoln was a great
We
time.
still have to go through the rest of Williams Grove.
I don't want to talk about that. Let's
We
go.
have to talk
Let's go.
about
Let's
the
talk
rest
the
of
good
it.
stuff on Saturday.
So
Let's not
for
talk
the
about anything
seventh
else on
time,
Friday.
for the 7th time I saw today in All-Star Super Champion history, Danny Dietrich wins 2 features in the same day, Williams Grove, and the track surface was very fun. We've seen it more and more kind of build that curb.
Are you taking a shot at Bloomsburg? I'll come at you too, Chris.
Track's been good. You get a curb in 3 and 4 where a few times if you hit it right, you'd be hooked up like a slot car, and if you missed it, you'd see like Brent Marks bang the thing so hard he'd be up on one wheel, ripping out of there. It's kind of fun. I mean, Danny Dietrich did start in the pole in the first one, so FDS, talking shit in the Grove all the time. But he did win from 6th in the second one after they inverted the field, passing Lance Weiss.
All posse, both of them.
Right.
Same
Danny
podium.
Dietrich, Brent Marks,
Double
Lance
douche.
Weiss, top 3 both times. I don't know. Race was good. Tyler Courtney had an issue in the second one and put him right in the fence, and he parked it, but he wasn't going to win anyway, so that guy. So, no. I don't know. I think the Grove won to something. I think they're...
Nah, this has been some of the best racing the Grove has had
in-
consistently all year in a
especially
while.
at bigger
I
shows,
think.
especially at bigger shows when they have car counts and
If
and
they
things like
have
that.
if they have that type of surface for Natty Open, man, Natty Open's gonna be wild.
And I
I
feel like
can't
they did
wait.
both outlaw shows so far. I know the spring they did because we had that Jay-Z, but Brent Marks biking for the lead around Mosquito there. And I think the summer we were at Pocono, but it looked a lot the same, even given their situation of dodging rain, just like we did in the spring. So they know they can do it. I wish they do it more often.
The only
but-
bad part about the Natty Open is that it's so late in the year that it's going to be cooler. It tends to be heavier. It doesn't dry out like it does in the summer here. So I think that's the only bad part. But, I mean, a couple of years ago when Brent won the Natty Open, man, that track was slick to the fence almost in 1 and 2, and it was a great race. And,
Right. And the advantage
that's
of
what I'm
that
hoping
is you
for.
have some 40 or 50 cars there.
Yeah.
That kind of offsets that a little bit, as long as we don't have rain going into it.
Yeah, I think Williams Grove gets a lot of flack, and it's mostly deserved, right? So, but they've had a lot of racetracks this year that has had a great surface. When that gets pretty wide around, but it's still fast around, and you create that bottom and that top lane, and guys can make a choice where their car needs to go. Like it was pretty top dominant, I'd say. I watched a lot of that second one. You know, Brent chasing Danny down, and it was freaking entertaining. Like having to take chances. Danny would have to take a chance to slow himself down and get by a car, and Brent would run him down, and then Brent would take that chance, and it would gap, and it would get close. And he threw a slider on him that in 1 and 2 there in that restart. You know, I think, you know, Brent has won a lot of races, and he does get a lot of credit for being very fast, but he was driving the piss out of that car in that second feature. That I know a lot of people, like in our chat, Jimmy Barr would say, Macri, the big ball, balls in a wheelchair or in a
Wheelbarrow.
In a wheelbarrow.
Well, I think
But like that's the shit Brent was doing. Just didn't get to the win. I mean, it looked very reminiscent of Macri when he just decides to say F it and go. And that's kind of what Brent was doing, man. That one he would slide people and bang the cushion, and the car would get all upset and go. It was super entertaining to watch, but Danny did his job, man. Like Danny out front, clean or not, even if Brett was a little bit faster at times, he did what he had to do and made those moves. And Danny's out front and on it, He's hard to beat. So I hate it. I'm glad I wasn't there to take photos of the wins, but it was good racing. I mean, it really was for Williams Grove.
Yeah,
And
if we were to just say green,
domination.
Yeah, that's the main thing is the
If
posse
it-
domination, even though it was double D.
And if we would have just every time we got really good in lap traffic, both features got really good in lap traffic, and then the caution would come out, it kind of set it back. If it was that lap traffic battle was some like Jeremy was saying, it was like touch and go. You'd see Danny make a move, it wouldn't quite work, or a lap car go there, and you see Brent suck up. That's when that track comes alive. You have to have lap traffic, and it has to be wide.
Yeah, the worst events are when you get a big touring series come in, and you get a caution every 5 laps, and you get the leader with clean air. I mean, you get an average to above average car with clean air, they're going to run away until they get to lap traffic. And you got a really good car take the lead with clean air, they're gone, until you get to it. So it was just a positive night all around for Williams Grove. Danny sweeping it. Whether you're a fan or not, I think it was just positive all around for the surface. And
I think it was a little overshadowed by obviously the unfortunate.
you're right, and I'm like skipping beyond that, and it was.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's okay, because if this guy, he definitely has injuries, has got some recovery to make. But if this guy, didn't make it or is seriously injured, I don't know that even you could make that feature feel good. Like you could make all that feel good, and it still is a little bit weird saying that. But
I'm surprised they didn't cancel, to be honest, with how dire it sounded like it looked.
I think if they didn't get any of the progress they did in that short amount of time, they would have.
Yeah.
I mean, I unfortunately was there when Billy Kimmel passed, and that was coming to the white flag when that happened, and they just said that we're done. They didn't restart the race. So that is very standard procedure. Would not have shocked me at all.
So, anything else from Williams Grove? Lincoln.
That's it.
Lincoln, baby. Lincoln was fun.
What a night.
That was a fun time.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
it was heat racing.
Crazy.
I mean, it was fast. It was heavy. There was carnage. There was drama. There was speed.
The one with give it.
Brandon, keep it down out there. Brandon Eiler, this guy.
I haven't been to Lincoln since Icebreaker. I've only gotten there a few times because it's so far away from me. I mean, it's 110 miles from me, but I love the track. That was fun. I had a blast. It makes me want to just go there more often, to be honest, even for like weekly shows, because just the atmosphere there is something that I've noticed. Like I've gone there for all-star shows before in the past, and then Icebreaker, which is obviously Icebreaker only going to bring us the biggest DJs, it's because it's 35 degrees out. But last night was just fun. I enjoyed it. Or Saturday night was fun. Good racing. The track was nice. It widened out. Right enough for the feature, but still pretty top dominant. Just Peck though grabbed the win again, and Gio Selzy. The heat with Gio Selzy and Danny Dietrich, I'm still confused on.
Here we go. Fire off too.
I thought you got this explanation.
I don't buy the explanation
You don't
at
have
all.
to buy the explanation. It's just a fact.
I don't. No, it's not fact. He was bullshitting you through and through. He was bullshitting you through and through, and you know it.
At least he took
You
the
know
time
it.
to try, okay? Either way, he never made contact with Gio. He said they ran over Robbie Kendall's parts everywhere. Clearly, Robbie Kendall's car was falling apart down the front stretch. Selzy was so far ahead of him. How would Danny even hit him?
So,
And I think he was telling him his tire was thinking because they went out and checked them both. I think
you don't need to take off your gloves. You don't need to take
He does
off
that every time. He says he does it every time.
He doesn't because he was under red flag before
It was hot.
and did not do any of that.
It was hot.
Did
in
you
there.
ask Gio?
Hmm?
No, we should
No,
have.
Gio wasn't around.
Gio, we should have asked. So after the race, so in the heat, we were in turn 3 and 4, and Danny was like, he was clapping like this when they came to a stop. Gio parked on the outside of Danny.
Yeah, do it
Danny
again.
clapped like this. They
No,
took
he was
off his
doing
gloves.
this, just like Chalk Guy. They all were doing the same thing.
Was it vertical like this?
Yeah, I believe it was.
That's
Just
the
like Chalk Guy.
universal sign for
I
you
don't
have a
think
tire going down.
I think that's what they were talking about.
Maybe he was.
And then they
then.
started going back and forth, and that's when Danny took his helmet off because he thought he was talking about his tire, and Chalk Guy checked his car out too. That's what I think it was. I think it was he was trying to explain to Gio.
This gets someone's attention, and this are way different. This is
Right.
universal sign you got a tire going down.
And that's what all the track guys started doing that. And then
Okay.
then you saw the replay. You saw Gio was far enough away. And I just want to say, he has no reason to lie. I was not in his shirt. Smeal was.
I didn't buy the I take my helmet
Because
off
he
every
called you
red flag.
Well, I mean, probably not, but still.
Yeah,
I mean,
I didn't buy that part.
he
That was my
probably
point.
trying to make him. I mean, it was also like, who knows? But right, sure.
He was fired up from the caution before,
Right, he was trying to.
where he got penalized, and I thought he was maybe a little fired up.
Did he get penalized though? Let's be.
Yeah, I mean, not
He
as bad as
did.
he could have, but he did. They took 2 spots away
Why did they do that?
because they don't
because
have
he was the
as
reason
he
for the
said-
caution.
As he said, so the Water Mountain laws have a blend rule. No,
Uh-huh.
the All Stars do not. So it was inadvertent yellow, meaning he should have got his spot back because I guess somebody the night before at Williams Grove, that happened with them. Is what he said to me in the pits when I asked. He thought I was talking about that, and I was like, no, the Geo thing. And he goes, oh no, he goes with the Outlaws. They had the blend rule for sure. All Stars don't have that rule. Inadvertent yellow, you get your spot back at time of the yellow. Was his point. At least that was his argument. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's his argument. I mean, I don't know enough about the All-Star rulebook. I know those two entities love to butt heads, and it was fun to watch because you saw the official pointing back 2 spots, and then the guy he goes out
Did another lap, and
and
then he pointed at him. He's like, "No, you 2 spots."
And then the next time the official walks out shaking his head, he goes, "Get back!" It was fun to watch from right in front of us.
Backstory there, I was in 1 and 2, and I'm watching leaders go through the corner, and Danny stopped. Like, the car broke. I mean, this thing just flat stopped. 2 cars go by. He picks up the throttle and drives down the front stretch like nothing happened. They throw the yellow.
Yep.
So they put him in the spot where with the 2 cars past him, and they threw the yellow because it looked like it broke. Well, we found out it jumped out of gear. He shoved it back in gear, and it took off. So that's the backstory there.
Right.
Yeah,
Listening
because-
to what Danny says, I'm a little more 50-50 on wondering because you're right. The Outlaws have a blend rule.
Right. I mean, that was his
The
rule
All-Stars do not.
because
And
we heard
he
it right
was
in
the
front of
cause
us,
of the caution.
But they
That
said it
should
was
be
an
the rear
inadvertent
field.
caution. But he said, but they over the PA said it was an inadvertent caution. If they're blaming him for the
It
cause,
wasn't,
then
though.
sure.
It
But
wasn't,
They said
though.
it was. That's what I'm saying.
I know,
I
but
don't care what it was or wasn't.
so
I'm
here-
saying what they said.
So, like Jeremy said, he saw he got passed by 2 cars. You were with us, Chris.
Right,
We were
we
in
heard the
turn
car
3 and
shut
4.
off.
We heard
We
the
all got
car was
amped.
shut
We
off
thought he was
going into
broke.
3, and
Right.
half of us are cheering and half of us
It
are
was
saying,
going
"What
nuts.
the hell?"
Right. I
The
understand
crowd's
that.
going nuts because they heard Danny's car off. So
Right, it was completely
he should have
off.
went to the rear end field.
But the All
got
Stars ruled
lucky.
it. But the All Stars ruled it inadvertent yellow.
Did
by
the
their
announcer
rules,
or the All-Stars?
Whoever the announcer said, I didn't hear what the All Stars said. That's what I'm saying.
Like
It's what
Anderson
hearsay.
said it. Right, I get it.
I heard it over the PA system, inadvertent yellow, which is why he doesn't go to the rear. So I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I
It
think
wasn't
he
a
should
big
get
deal anyway
clarification.
because there's only like
Because he
5
ended up
cars
winning.
that finished that heat
Because the
race,
next
and he
heat
won.
race was all
And,
wrecked.
yeah,
The next restart, Robbie Kendall breaks a rear axle,
Axel
going into
from the
one.
lead and
From the lead, takes out second place car, and Danny gets the lead back anyway. So, that was carnage on that start because Robbie Kendall breaks the front axle going into 1. It rolls around the bottom of 1. It gets narrow in 1 and 2, and the cars don't know where to go. They all jump tires and cause
Mhm.
gigantic junk in 1 and 2.
But-
Trey Hivner, brand new car, he's junk. It was
That stuff might
super
not happen.
unfortunate.
all that stuff might not happen if Danny Dietrich just keeps it in gear.
Right, doesn't throw a fit
Just
for 5 laps.
just because you're mad about Bloomsburg, you're giving your skewed opinion on everything that happened.
If Bloomsburg or not, I probably would still have the same opinion because I'm not a
Well,
fan. So,
I mean, I'm not either, but at least I'm not completely off the hinge of unbiasedness here.
and I hate
Well-
that because Danny seems like in the pit area, like he's a cool guy.
Even
I don't have
Jeremy
anything
hates
against him
him.
personally. I just don't
I
like.
have something personally against him. I was wearing my Danny Dietrich shirt back
Never
in the old
forget.
days when he screwed Brett
Posse
Marks.
911, never forget.
But I could still look at it from what the information that we have is.
Yeah.
I get it. I
Um,
don't hate it, but whatever.
Brady-
It is what it is.
Brady Nyler in chat says Lernerville is the best track in Pennsylvania. I think
back
most
to
people
Ohio.
forget it's in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
it's basically an
so-
Ohio track, but I do
It's
like it.
so Western PA that people think it's actually in Ohio. And when AJ Flick is your star, I mean, I love AJ Flick, but let's
Hey,
look at
AJ
the
Flick
bar
has like 14 wins this year, bud.
at Lernerville. with-
Tri-City and Lernerville, baby.
Anyway,
You know,
so
your track's not the best track when your most heralded son goes to Port Royal every Saturday and kicks their ass, Logan Wagner.
One
Yeah.
shot
Start,
wonder.
start at Lernerville
true.
and then just go away and never go back, man.
All right,
Justin Peck wins at Lincoln, and I'll tell you what, man,
that was awesome though. I was happy about it.
It was super impressive. That thing, like even in the dash, I think Freddie ran second to him. the dash was cool for me. Like I've gone to Lincoln a million times, and I've been there a ton this year and watched 410s go. Watching that dash was super impressive. Just listening to the cars. I mean, they were
on it.
screaming.
Yeah.
Like I mean, they were getting all of it, and the track was heavy. Like we talked about, it wasn't super wide until the feature, as you can see, kind of behind me. It got to be a cushion on the wall there, but I mean, just listening, like even Freddie behind him. I mean, those guys were using it all. I mean, and the cars just sounded awesome, screaming down the backstretch. So, and then Dakota Kuhn, buddy of ours, was talking about like in 1 and 2 where he could listen. He just wide open through 1 and 2 all night, ripping even into feature. And 3 and 4, it was a lot of the same. I mean, it was a little sketchier in 3 and 4. I don't know if he was using it all, but I mean, it was just impressive. You run that many laps that hard. And those guys up front all did it. I mean, it wasn't like super great passing, but like they drove their asses off for 35 laps at Lincoln Speedway, and it was cool.
Yeah, and that was the perfect car to win that race. It was the Kramer Clash, which that has a connection to that 13 car, and so it was very, very cool. I think for that whole group to get that win there. And Justin Peck's been on fire, man. He has 8 wins this year with the All-Stars. He's second in points. He's catching Tyler Courtney, but Tyler Courtney's had a much more consistent year. So it's going to be hard for Peck to pass him with there's not very many races left, but there's enough time for him if he wins a couple more races.
You know, luck can switch quick.
Yeah.
Justin had a lot of bad luck the last month with tire issues really was the big one for him. And that can flip quick.
Courtney's issue at Williams Grove in that second feature doesn't matter because it wasn't the second feature didn't count for All-Star points.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Grove it counted for Grove points, but not for All-Star points. So that's why as soon as he wrecked, they put on the hook amount.
Yeah,
right.
So that sucks because Peck would have gained a decent chunk there.
I was thinking about this earlier when we were on break, and I had to go flush out the Busch Light apple. I'm super happy for that 13 team, man. Like, I can't say I'm a huge 13 team fan or a Justin Peck fan, but I don't dislike those guys. And honestly, I mean, they weren't that long ago running part-time schedule, you know, and getting by and picking and choosing and doing this and that. And it's really cool to see them, see them team up and have success and sustain success and get some winnings. So hopefully that program continues to grow because owners are getting harder and harder to find. And I think, you know, them succeeding is good for everybody. And, you know, while an All-Star just won at Lincoln, which doesn't happen often,
it's a PA car.
Like it's definitely a PA car. It's an All-Star, but it was really cool. If you're going to have somebody win like an All-Star, that was cool. Like, and just the night, the way it all worked out. So
they have like the posse kind of mentality.
They're also here half the year too, like
more than half,
I guess more.
Right.
I mean,
outside, even just not even cutting All-Star races. Anytime they have free weekends, it's not a big race. They're here.
They ran the whole spring here. I mean, they were here every weekend.
Right. So I mean, they're just a good team. It doesn't make you mad. You love seeing them succeed. So I agree with Jeremy. It's cool seeing them how they built the program the right way, and just went through and just got better and better, and hopefully they just keep getting better.
There was a tweet that came out over the weekend. Somebody said about, you know, tearing down the engine of that 13 car or whatever. And somebody tweeted back at them saying like this was like a used.
It was Peck. Peck's the one that tweeted back.
Yeah. What did you read that tweet? What was that?
They bought that motor off of Brent Marks in 2018 or 2019.
2019, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, go ahead, please do.
Yeah, like it's, you know, it's
and not realizing. So here's one of the things that we found out too was because the All-Stars they take the top 3 to Tech, like to Tech every night. And even with Williams Grove doing double features, they took them to Tech after the first feature, so the podium guys didn't have a chance to work on their cars really before the second feature, and then they had to Tech them after the second feature because it's the same podium. So it was one reason why Lance Deweese wasn't there, allegedly's not a reason why he wasn't there at Lincoln on Saturday night, which I was very bummed out about because I had nobody to root for. But
track would have been too fast for him anyway.
Yeah, man, that's fair. That's a fair statement. He just doesn't have the fire anymore. I don't know.
He has an excuse.
Him and Larson golf too much.
Yeah,
They
Yeah,
both
but-
won
that's
championships
where
last year.
Larson
We're both
learned it
golfing.
from.
Yeah.
That's where Larson
So
learned it from.
Lance, like, Kyle, racing isn't life, man. Just
Yeah, it's just, you
come
just got too much
golfing.
passion.
You show up once in a while and finish top 5.
Can't
Look
believe
at
you
me.
want him so bad.
We're all in the Sprint Car Hall of Fame. We just go out there for the hell of it. I don't care if I win or not. You should do the same.
Larson's gonna be in the Sprint Car Hall of Fame before the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
That's
Just off
for
his-
sure.
Off his wins alone already.
All right, let's stay on track.
We are on
Bedford Sunday night. Justin Peck was leading that race too, and then had a tire delaminate. Not just more than delaminate, just completely explode. Or no, he wasn't leading. He was second. I'm sorry.
Second.
To Macri, but he was catching him in lap traffic. Macri ends up winning in that 11 car, which I'm happy for Macri getting the win in that 11 car because he was consistently top 5 pretty much all week. You know what I mean? He was up there. There was only 19 cars at Bedford, same amount as at Bloomsburg on Wednesday. It being Sunday probably had something to do with that. Also, it being Bedford might have had something to do with that. I know a lot of people talk shit on Bedford. I'm only watching it on Flow. I didn't think it was that bad. It reminded me a lot of Selinsgrove, so I don't know. It is a fast, long, straightaway track, but good for Macri.
I mean, he's so good at Bedford. Like, he'll take maybe that 11 car that would have, again, I don't want to compare drivers or say who, whatever, but like PPM, is a 4th, 5th place car there. He's really, really good at Bedford. I mean, y'all remember last year's All-Star race at Bedford, right?
He spanked their ass.
Obliterated the field. Like, this was like, 0.22 seconds at the line compared to that. He's really, really good at Bedford for some reason. So, it's cool to see the 11 car. I like that. I like watching that car do well. I don't know why. I don't know those people at all, but I like when that car's doing well. Maybe I like the paint scheme. I don't know what it is. It's a pretty car.
I'm gonna probably look like an idiot, but isn't McGee kind of from the area, or am I completely off base?
So they're posse. Okay, moving on. Got it.
I don't know. I'm not
No, we
sure.
have no idea.
I have no clue.
I mean, everybody thinks we'll claim him anyway.
We're gonna claim him. I mean, it was a posse driver, so anyway, that's an easy claim.
If we like him, it's ours.
I mean, Parker Price Miller start 2 P's there. He's from Pennsylvania. Close enough.
I don't even know how I didn't think of that before.
It's science. I don't know what else to tell you.
Easy science. But yeah, so he gets that win there. I think Eliasson is back in the car this week for them, and we'll probably have Macri back into 39M. But yeah, it was a good week. I mean, if you're gonna have an all-star win,
that's not Justin Peck.
No. I'm glad it was Justin Peck is what point. You know what I mean? So, real quick, Ryan Timms finally turned 16 years old. Got to go run with the Outlaws this week, and his second night out. His first night, he made the feature at I think it's River Cities in North Dakota, and then the second night, which I can't. It's another track in North Dakota. Name is slipping my mind, but he passed Brad Sweet on the restart with like 2 or 3 to go to finish second in that race, in his second ever Outlaw race.
And Friday night he was a hard charger, 19th to 9th.
Hard charger. Yeah, top 10.
So very impressive. I mean, we all know that this kid has talent. We've seen him here in PA earlier this year. Obviously, his goal is to be on that Outlaw tour, I would imagine, and maybe even bigger things than after that. I don't know, but he's definitely got the talent. And speaking of more young talent, Corey Day won at Huset's last night, but he became the youngest winner at Huset's. And both of those guys, they're definitely the future of the sport. 2 of the guys that we're going to be talking about for hopefully 15 years from now, that they're going to be the guys at the top or whatever. Hopefully they don't move outside of sprint car racing, because that seems to be the move when they're this young sometimes. But
I talked to some guys in our Wicked Cushion Facebook chat about this, and shout out to those guys. Good conversation. But Corey Day, Justin Peck, Tyler Courtney, Anthony Macri, Brent Marks, Ryan Timms. That is a future Outlaw roster. Like, if who knows where they go, but you look at the future roster of the World of Outlaws is in good hands. Donnie isn't going to do it forever, right? There's a lot of good youth already there, but they need that series.
you still have Gravel, you still have Macedo, you still have Hodenshield, you still have some young drivers there,
Right.
and then you're talking these guys that could be added. That's if the Outlaws do things right and make it worth it for these guys to come on the tour.
And the
And I think
Outlaws,
that's the biggest hurdle right now.
I talked to them in this chat, and a lot of people, I know, as a Brent Marks fan and talked to Brent a lot, the California swing was the reason one of the big reasons he didn't run this year. Like, didn't have all the help he needed, but that California swing was like a big issue because it always rains. It's expensive, fuel.
You're out there for almost 3 weeks. Yeah.
You're a month between the Florida swing through Texas to South and out west, and then come back. It is a grueling mess, and for year after year after year, it rains a lot. They don't get any races in, and you don't get anything if you don't race. You're just literally staying in hotels, spending your fuel money, and getting nothing in return. So, I think that there's some schedule things the Outlaws could look at. I think that they do pay well. I mean, to be a platinum member, I think there's some rules they have that are antiquated a little bit with where the guys can and can't race. Like, if you're on the West Coast and you don't see any hope of going, and they say, listen, we're not doing this, or this, these guys could go find somewhere to race and go try to earn a living. If they're not going to pay the hotel bills, some of these travel bills, I mean, they got to get some things to figure out. That's a story for another thing. But I'm just saying, in general, things go right. The roster for the World of Outlaws could be in very, very good hands the next decade.
I think the All-Stars get it right because the All-Stars, they'll do like weren't they doing like a Texas swing at one point, like Texas, Louisiana, but those didn't count towards season points. It was its own section of the schedule in a way. I agree. I think the Outlaws can maybe look at that California swing or something like that and be like, all right, this is its own thing. You still get show-up points.
Find a different time of the year. I mean, there's not a lot of
different time of the year.
There's not a lot of areas of the country racing that time of the year, but they can find something. Even Texas gets rained out a lot.
Yep.
One of Brent's main sponsor, M&M Painting and Construction, they're out of San Antonio in that area. Go down to Devil's Bowl and some of these other places. They've gotten rained out, flooded out years past. So it's just a hard time of the year to get racing in general, and there can be an argument made that they start too soon.
Yeah, I think the problem is that they start at Volusia during speed weeks. They count it as points.
Beautiful.
And then you have 8 weeks until you could actually get into real racing, and that's even a debatable. Like, April is still tough, no matter where you are in the country. So I think you could still try to schedule races all over the country, but maybe keep that a separate. Keep it a mini series or something. Don't make it the part of the actual main season.
Like that. As a national tour, you have to count them all, in my opinion. But I do agree with Jeremy. Switch the schedule around and at least get rid of that rule. If you know you're going to North Dakota and for some reason it's going to rain out, and right now you're in Kansas, give them a choice to go to Knoxville or wherever it is to go.
Yeah, but the rule
you don't.
They could do that, but the rule is the tracks that are racing nearby a 410 race that they're not in the Outlaw schedule.
Yeah,
they're not allowed to race.
That's when they change that rule around. But I'm just like,
yeah, but it wouldn't be Knoxville. They can race at Knoxville anytime
they want.
Thinking,
just like
right.
This first one, I don't know what else is in Kansas or near.
For instance, like if they're Williams Grove and it gets rained out, and whatever that happens, or they're still in town, they can't go run BAPS on a Sunday. Right. They're not allowed to.
Get rid of that.
You can't touch it.
Like, which is stupid.
And I know why they do it. They don't want guys to leave to go chase money elsewhere for whatever night. But guys don't want to do that for points if you're in the points battle anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
This is when there's nothing else going on. You can go travel and make a living for yourself.
Right. Like how much to leave the points battle to go to a different race that's not outlaw sanctioned, what are the chances you make more money doing that? I think it's slim and none.
Let's
score 50.
I was just gonna say that. Go look at somebody like Jacob Allen, James McFadden, Brock Zierfoss. If you had that rule open right now, you think they're going to run the Outlaws up in Skagit? Or you think they're coming home and they go run Tuscarora 50? Or they could maybe have a better shot at winning $50,000.
No, they're going to Skagit because they're an outlaw. This is the moments where they have rainouts and they're stuck in North Dakota with nothing to do. But there's a 410 race 100 miles down the road. They can't go touch it because they're not. It's not an outlaw track.
I agree. I'm just saying. I think that's what the Outlaws are thinking with that rule is like we're not going to let you go do that because you're out of it. You're
okay. Don't schedule a race on Tuscarora 50 weekend either.
Oh, do you think the Outlaws are going to go around Tuscarora 50 weekend?
Well, the thing is,
I don't think that's. Really?
Right, I know it's a different conversation, but if you didn't, I know they're not going to let that go because that's too much pride, but leave that weekend off and give your guys a chance to go run with the All-Stars at the Tuscarora 50 weekend. I know that's against their ego, but the All-Stars
they won't
do
let
it for
that happen. Only
the
other way
All-Stars
around.
won't have any guys.
they're going to make their schedule. There's enough.
If
West Coast-
anything, they will go and take that Tuscarora 50 sanctioning away from the All-Stars if they really wanted it.
I don't think we want
That's
that.
correct. I agree.
Because, I mean,
Yeah, that was that. Anyway,
So super quick, Brad Sweet extends his lead with the Outlaws. Nothing too special there. Barely knew they raced all weekend because all the shit going on around
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
Not that it's not important, but they've had bigger events and weekends. Obviously, we talked about Tyler Courtney there. But our shout out, local, our boy, Jordan Givler, right? Fucking mint, bro.
let's
Okay.
fucking go, dude.
First 410
5K win.
First career 410 win.
Indeed.
Shout out to those guys. They've been working their asses off, and the haters will say there weren't a lot of cars. I don't give a flying shit. It was $5,000 to whoever showed up. I do not care.
Money talks, bullshit walks, baby. Let's go.
100%. They won that race. They showed up. They ran their laps. They won the race. So it's a 410 race. I don't care where it is or who it is.
AJ Flick was there.
Dan Shetler was there. Dan Shetler is not like.
He's not somebody to. Yeah.
I don't even care. I'm not even doing it. Jordan Givler, shout out. Congrats, my guy. Proud of you. Who won up
FDK.
Deal with Devin Borden?
No. That was Blaine Heimbach.
Blaine
won
Heimbach.
at Sealands Grove.
Heimbach.
You know what? I didn't actually know that. I don't know why I hadn't heard at all.
We thought
it
was
false
Borden
information at Lincoln that Borden won at Sealands Grove. He won a heat race. He finished third, and Mark Smith finished second, and Blaine Heimbach won. So
Blaine Heimbach, man, the half-mile master.
Yeah, I mean he's so good at Sealands Grove. It's he was always good there in the 360 and the 410. He's really learned how to step it up. He's gotten better at Port Royal, so good for him. Good for him.
For sure.
And good for Sealands Grove. I know they didn't get a ton of cars. It sounds like they're going to have a good amount of cars on Sunday. I think they're going to probably have a full field, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. I mean, they're going to have a race on Sunday. I guess we can get them that right now. Preview this week. Williams Grove has a regular race on Friday. Am I correct?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Okay. Lincoln's running a regular show on Saturday. Port Royal kicks off fair week, fair opener with late models, 410s, and late models.
Wow. Insider stuff.
Super and limited late models. And then Labor Day Classic on Monday. That one's always one. I'm getting there. I'm trying to just talk about Port Royal right now. So Sunday, Sealands Grove 410s. Also running with late models, I believe, which are running for about like 12 grand.
Shit ton of money.
Yeah. So I'm thinking it's going to be a good show. We're going to have Camp Degen out at Port Royal. We're going to be there from, we get set up on Thursday this week all the way till after Tuscarora 50. So if anybody's out there at Port Royal, come check us out. We'll be there. But yeah, so Port Royal will have their Labor Day Classic on Monday, 410s, Wingless Sportsman. Brett Perigo hopefully makes an appearance in the car. If not, he's going to be hanging out with the D-Gens, I hope. And then you also got the 4-cylinders, which the 4-cylinders at Port Royal are always one of my favorite, one of my guilty pleasures. All-Stars go to Sharon for the Lou Blaney Memorial. Outlaws go to Skagit for 25K, which I think Skagit's a severely underrated track. They've really done a lot there over the years. It's an awesome track, and it's the fact that it's on the West Coast really kind of hurts it, but it's a good event that they put together up there. And good racing. Yeah. Anything else you guys are looking for? I mean, then obviously the week after is Tuscarora 50. We got the 3 nights. We basically got 5 nights of racing at Port Royal in a week, with Labor Day 2 and everything. So,
looking forward to getting back up to Port Royal. Love it. Super welcoming. Love going up there with the Turn 2 Terribles. I guess I am one now. It's not with them. It's up as a
you
part
are.
of them.
You are a Turn 2 Terrible.
And I need to take my camera and shoot other parts of the track too, guys. Like I can't just shoot Turn 2.
It's fine. It's fine. It's okay.
But no, I looking forward to it. I go camping Labor Day weekend, so I rarely get out to a race. But we'll see how this year goes. Might pick off maybe, I don't know. I don't want to go to Lincoln again. I love it, but I don't want to go. Not as welcoming sometimes. So when the security guards now say hello to me and they know who I am, it's probably not what you want. So yeah. Anyway, but we'll see how this weekend goes. But I'm excited for Port Royal, man. Like I had a blast last year during Tuscarora, and that whole event is just
They do a great job there. Yeah,
something to behold. I mean, it is awesome. So definitely
it's
look forward
turning
to it.
into something that could. It's not on Natty Open level yet by any means, because Natty Open that's the crown jewel of the area. It's one of the crown jewels of the country. But Tusky 50 is definitely becoming a top 3 race, if it's not the number 2 race in the area for the
It's
entire
definitely
year.
the number 2 race, in my opinion, in the area. I mean, the outlaw shows, whatever, but atmosphere-wise alone, take the money out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Tuscarora 50 is number 2.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Damn near
I
top
can't
5
wait.
in the country.
Yes,
Forward to it.
I can't
It's
wait.
gonna be a blast. It's always very much an atmosphere to behold for sure.
So, like I said, we're going to be camping out there. So, if anybody watching is or listening is going to be out there that week, hit us
Find
up on any of our socials. Come find us. We'll be camping out. You know,
Burning it down.
we'll be there for most of the races. I don't know if we're going to be there for fair opener.
I'm
I'm thinking the plan right now for me is go Sealands Grove on Sunday and then maybe go straight and camp overnight. So I'm there for Monday. And then
I'll be there Monday.
Tusky 50, all 3 nights of the Tusky 50 is tough just because of work. So I might. Oh, and that probably leads me into no show on Monday. We'll probably do it Tuesday or Wednesday.
I say Tuesday. We have rain Tuesday here, it looks like. We'll be home for posse racing anyway. Why not do a show?
Meteorologist Chris Lynn.
I looked ahead. So, I think next Tuesday, probably a little later, probably 9 o'clock. I don't know what.
You try to
Mhm.
tell the weather 8 days from now?
Dude, bro, science.
I was doing it with Bloomsburg, and
it
it's
worked.
it's still backfired.
Here's how it works. If it's in your favor, it's fact. If it doesn't look good, it's 10 days out.
It's 10 days out. It doesn't matter.
But I think
Lock it
I
in.
don't know what's posse have next week. Williams Grove, whatever. We'll be here.
Yeah.
I'll be here.
Let's real quick. I'm gonna put this
iRacing, baby.
back up. iRacing stuff.
iRacing.
PA Posse. Here's our schedule for September. We got a lot of big races that reflects the schedule here.
Oh yeah.
We
can't miss the Dirt Classic qualifier.
I won't be there. Well, yeah. Are you talking about for podcast?
No, for the Grove race, which means
Yeah, I know.
You have to be there.
We're gonna talk about that after. We're at Lernerville tomorrow, and then this is the schedule for September. So as you can see, we're doing our Tuska 50, and then we have a $75 to win National Open at the end of September. Shouts out George Wood, who puts on the posse. He pays out everybody out of his own pocket. He does such a great job with the league by just trying to make it as much of a simulation as you can, and really recreating that posse. In terms of on iRacing.
Good job. We got Smeal in there acting like Danny every week. So
Yeah,
it's perfect.
basically. And then playing Outlaws to the posse, Dirty Old Bastard League. And we did a pre-race show on Thursday for the Nationals. It was a very, very awesome show, very fun show. Aiden Beerline wins.
A wicked
It was so good between him, Mason Hannigan, and Bray Nyler. What a race. I mean, there was times where they were 3 wide, sliding each other. A little bit of controversy on if you have eyes in the back of your head,
or headphones.
Or really, really great headphones. But otherwise, it was a great race. I mean, that's just what you're going to have. You have guys at that level, those 3 guys, that caliber. You're splitting hairs to get an advantage on somebody, and you don't even really have an advantage. You just got to almost get lucky. So not saying that Aiden got lucky. Aiden drove his ass off, but just because it was such a good battle between 3 really great drivers. It was so much fun to watch and a really great event. How did your nights go? Jeremy, start with you.
So I ran Hard Knocks, finished 2 spots out of the automatic transfer to the A main. I was in 4th for, I don't know, like 30 seconds. Got my way all the way up there and kind of blew it. So finished 6th in that, which put me from starting in the 10th in the D main to the pole of the C main, which was it's a big jump. Got 2nd in the C main. Tyler Shell snuck by me on the bottom, followed him around to the end. The B main was probably one of the more adventurous races I've ever been in for a B main. I wrecked, I don't know, 3 times, but only got damage in one of them, but it was enough damage for both wings. Hadn't really passed anyone yet, and then went in, got 40 seconds of damage repair, gave me a brand new top wing, and it was competitive again. And then they all crashed, and there was a yard sale at one point. It was like a Lincoln trade swap meet, at the end of the year they have. There's parts everywhere. So ended up 8th there, so I missed it by a few spots. I think I went 20th to 8th or something like that, I think, in the B. So it was a good run. I mean, I really just screwed up my qualifying night, put me in that bad spot. But I had a great night overall. I had a lot of fun on the pre-race show. Got to shoot the shit a little bit with KR on Turn 3 Network.
Yeah,
Shout out to
Turn
those
3.
guys. Put on a great broadcast. So spent a little time there. Was super rusty. Went back and watched it. Could barely hear myself talking. Realized I wasn't prepared at all. And was like, I don't know. There's a car. He's third. Did a terrible job there, but KR does a good job. He's a good sport, and he enjoys the company. I know Adam Buchanan spent some time with him, and then just watch that A main. Watch those 3 guys go at it. Mason, Aiden, and Braden. They are pros in iRacing. Aiden. They're pros in iRacing for a reason. They do a great job. It was, as an average iRacer, it was fun to watch good ones do it, and it wasn't just waiting for guy leading to make a mistake. They didn't have to. They were slide. It was slide jobs. There was top. There was bottom. They were cut down lines. It was super entertaining, and I can't tell you who finished 4th, 5th, and 6th. So
Yeah, that's true.
I could a little bit, but I know Zane did a good job. He ended up there. But really the show was those top 3, and the broadcast didn't really leave them because they couldn't.
The racing was so good. You couldn't take your eyes off.
Right.
So, Chris with DOB did a great job. They ran 10 straight nights, busted his ass. Like, I was worn out, and I only ran like 4 nights. Like, I was like, I'm glad we have a little bit of a break here. I've been playing iRacing for a week and a half. So, they did a hell of a job. So we have a week break, and we start the DOB season. 360 and 410s, wing, sprint car racing. We're super close to having both leagues broadcast with Tuesday and Thursday nights. That Tuesday nights after Posse, so our own Posse league that we're in is usually 7:30, and then DOB will start at 9. Most times we're done in time to get over there.
Yep.
So those 2 leagues work together well, and like 2 other leagues I know that don't work together well because he's a child. Dakota likes that league, but I won't get into that. Chris does a great job, and it's going to be a long season. He does a hell of a job. It's a lot of racing. We talked about this a lot. Like, you don't have a lot of drama in DOB anymore because Chris is consistent.
Yes.
You know what you're going to get. You know what he's going to do. He does a great job, and it's never too anxious. I mean, back in the day, it got a little rough, and it's been calmed down a lot. So it's 18 and over this year instead of 30 and over. So it definitely opens up a lot more drivers. So there could be going to have some patience and do your job to stay up front, to make sure you're not in the drama and the struggle. But Knoxville was a great time. I had a great time with it. I know my 410s week didn't go the way I wanted to, but it was a good time.
Chris, not even worth mentioning.
It is whatever. B main, put myself in the shit again. I was lucky to even get to the B main on Thursday night. Such a tough league, so much to learn, right? And how to drive and how to be aggressive. Still learning that and all that different stuff. So I'm excited. I kind of want to run as much of the season as I can for DOB. I don't know, just rub Chris the wrong way. I hope he hears this and knows that I'm coming to bust his ass for 20th. So it's fun though. Fun challenge to do after our league, but Knoxville didn't go. I mean, it went better than I thought it would, to be honest. I was expecting maybe sneaking through a C main, started 15th in the B as it worked out. So, and just put my car in Dingus. It's fine.
I'll tell you this, Chris. I was in the position you were at one point with DOB, and when I joined up with a really good team, they said, you got to come run DOB, you got to come run these leagues because you're not going to get any better if you don't. That's where the good people are. And right now, there's not a lot of consistently top-tier leagues. DOB would be that right now. There's not a lot of the pros like when I came up in iRacing it was stacked fields. Like, it made me better. I can assure you it made me better. I'm not any better than anybody else out there, but that competition made me better watching them, seeing how they run, how aggressive they are, where the lines are. When you find the line, you better go fast with the line. So it will make you a better
Right.
racer for sure.
And you're one of the people that told me that end of last season when I was going into a Prosty National Open, and I kind of use that. I just keep finding that line farther, but like 360, 410 Nationals, great events. Both times started third in my heat. Both times dropped like a sinking boat, like the Titanic. So it's fine. We'll figure it out. We'll come back next year and we'll sneak in there.
I do think it speaks volumes to the league and everything that Chris Roberts does over there.
Mm-hmm.
But the top 3 guys that are being interviewed for that race are all pretty much saying it's top 3, event of the year for them. Was that race? So a lot of emotions were running wild there and everything like that. And that's the reason why, is because it's such a well-respected league. You're against some of the best on the sim. And so it was a great event for me as a spectator for the 410s. I ran in 360s. I felt like I could have maybe done something if I didn't go to Bloomsburg on Thursday. I could maybe have made the feature. 410s, I would have liked to see what I could have done, but other stuff takes priority.
No regrets.
Yeah, no regrets. But as a spectator, I have no regrets. That was so much fun. KR did such a great job with the broadcast. He came on the pre-race show. KR is an awesome dude. He's very much he very much matches the vibe of this podcast, I feel like. So hopefully we
see him this week. Perigo. It was here for you last week. The wingless car. That's what he's worried about.
Go ahead, explain it.
So Perigo's in the chat, and he sees my diecast. So I put this Jeff Gordon one here that has no wing on it for
Jeff
Perigo
Gordon.
last week, but it's a wingless sprint car, just an asphalt one. So it's fine. Perigo's solid, and the other one's a Al Hamilton and Fred Raymer one. He's up for a little bit here. 125 scale. Gotta wait for Lance Luis to show up.
Jeff Gordon, I've tuned out.
Well,
No, I'm kidding. That's
Is that an asphalt wingless car
yeah, Silver Crown. It looks
from like
That's
Thursday Night Thunder back in the day?
right, Beast.
ESPN style.
those
Let's
days,
go.
Yeah.
real
First time
quick.
it was actually the first time so fun fact on that, I was at Hendrick Motorsports. It was the first time I saw a sprint car diecast. So I'm like, well, we have to buy this as a Jeff Gordon fan, of course.
Mm.
So I bought it with like my first $70 I ever had as a kid. It's fine.
Nice.
Brett over here says Bloomsburg was fun too. First true rough track I've raced on. So there were some guys out there that like Brett was awesome. He finished 4th. He ran himself. I gotta really explain this because the top 3 got out to such a lead in that sportsman race, and he was buried back. I think he started 6th or 5th, and he was battling. And once he got around Wilbur and a couple of those other guys, he made up a half a lap in about 5 or 6 laps. And if he almost had 3rd at the line of the feature. And I really think if he had about 2 or 3 more laps, he was probably getting the 2nd. Not the winner. I can't remember his name. I apologize. He was
Tony Jackson win it.
Tony Jackson won. Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody was beating him, man. He was throwing it everywhere. He was fast as hell. Yeah, the Sportsman I think actually the Sportsman might have had a better surface than the 410s, but because they reworked the track again after the 410 feature. But I don't really know from the grandstands, but it was so much fun just watching Brett rip the top. First of all, so true to the brand, rip the top, and then make up a half a lap at a few laps, and challenge for a podium. He had a good race, and it was awesome seeing him do that. And we hope to see him at Port Royal on Monday. But I know they are going to DeCoin. So is Dad Corra and Silver Crown on Saturday. So good luck to them. Good luck to the Perigo family. Thanks, Brett, for coming out into the chat there. And we're going to get into the final segment of the night. Drink it or dump it. Give us your drink it and dump it in the chat if you're out there. Put it in the comments. Who wants to go first?
I'm going first because I'm going to take both of yours. I'm going to hit
You
both of them.
fucking
You guys are going to have
dickhead.
nothing to say.
I'm gonna.
Okay.
No, we all know.
I don't know about that.
There's.
I think there's a lot of drink-its. I don't think there's that many dump-its this week, but go ahead.
Want to bet?
Drink it is Justin Peck. Hell of a weekend. You know, he's won races this year. He's had a lot of bad luck to have a consistently strong weekend. You know, maybe Grove, you know, Posse obviously whooped ass at the Grove there, but I'm not completely shocked. I mean, it's not like they're trash at the Grove,
Best
but
track.
none of those guys in the All-Star roster are superstars at the Grove. I mean, neither is Brad Sweet, right? Took him all those years to win at the Grove. So that place is just different. I mean, Lincoln's always been a challenge, but he had a hell of a week against our guys every night, right? So that's definitely my drink it. And then my dump it is the EMMR crew. That's just a tough deal all around because those cars need to be enjoyed. They should be out there. To have it marred by something like that, while probably avoidable, does definitely change what the outlook for those EMMR ones do. I know there's so many people that love the history and see those cars out there. So hopefully they can come to,
To
you know, some sort of resolution where we can keep everybody safe and yet enjoy these cars and for what they are. So that's mine.
I like those. Chris?
Jordan Givler, drink it.
Hell
And
yeah,
Dakota,
bro.
And Dakota, even though he's a son of a bitch. Dakota too. Both of them got their first, I guess, 410 wins for Jordan, and first time ever as a crew guy for Dakota, as he said. Big time for them. Love that paint scheme, and Jordan's a nice guy. Dakota's a dick, but whatever. Good for them though. Drink it up. Just kidding, Dakota. Now you're so a dick. Dump it. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I hate that strategy that Ryan Blaney and Truex used. That was dumb. I wouldn't have done that if I'm them. So I'm dumping it on their strategies because that was terrible. They honestly both deserve to be out because their strategies are stupid and Kurt Busch gave a pass.
Cheers to that. So
Fucking Givler.
there you go. That's such a sick picture.
Mint.
Fucking mint. All right, so my drink it. There's a couple. I'm gonna give a couple honorable mentions. One, I think NASCAR for getting both the Xfinity and the NASCAR Cup race fully in. You got to give them some credit, better or worse. They stuck with it. They did a good job. They tried to get the whole race in. They did their due diligence. I got to give them a shout out. That and that whole track crew. I also got to give the track crew at Williams Grove a huge shout out for saving a guy's life. The guy, man, I wish I remember Wes. He was also in turn 3 at Lincoln, and he was the first guy to respond to the accident and apparently did CPR and pretty much saved the guy's life. So huge drink it to him and that whole track crew. I know Williams Grove's safety has been questioned a lot, and for good reason, because they've had stupid things happen. But that could have been bad. It could have been a lot worse than what it was. So big drink it to them.
And shout out to Chalk Guy for pointing that out to us.
Yeah. Drink it to Chalk Guy. If you don't know who Chalk Guy is, I have my picture here.
You will soon.
I have my sticker here. You will soon. If you ever watch Lincoln on Flow, he's the guy that does the chalk line for the restarts, throws it up. There he is.
Right there.
Chalk Guy right there. Awesome dude. We're hoping to have him on maybe in the coming weeks or in the off season. We had a good conversation with him. Awesome guy. And he's the one that gave the shout out to Wes. He got up on his grandstand and he said, "Hey, you all saw what happened there on Friday last night. This is the guy that saved his life." And I don't think anybody would have actually known if he didn't do that. So shouts out to him.
Yeah, so perfect.
My definitive drink it though, Brett Perigo, let's go. I was so amped watching him run. I know he almost had third. He almost had third at the line. It was so much fun watching him on a rough track and just for being an awesome dude. My dump it.
You know you want to. Just do it. Give it to your boy. You know you want to.
I'm going to give it to both Double D and the Bloomsburg track. Because just the whole situation sucks. And I hate to have to try to defend it because it's hard to defend. But No, screw that. Dump it out to Danny Dietrich for just being a dick. So that's where I'm at. Brett Perrigo out here. Drink it to the guy who won $1 million. Dump it to the guy who only won $70K. Be better next time. Yeah, some of the bets on the Daytona stuff was wild, man. It was pretty awesome to see some of the bets that were being placed and that were hitting. So, also, I guess a quick little drink it to Dakota Coon. Not only did he win 5K, he also won like
$9 at DraftKings.
$9.53 in DraftKings. He beat me by 5 points, so he's rich. So, shouts out to Dakota too. Anybody else we want to give a shout out to before we get off the air here?
Nope.
That we haven't already.
Yeah, man. Super quick one. Landon Myers going to have Jay-Z photography stickers on the car coming up here. He wanted a couple stop by the race shop before they left for Sealands Grove over the weekend. So
Nice.
Brett Strickler and him were pretty close, and Landon wanted to get a couple stickers, so I got a couple out to him. And just trying to support the racers, man. Like, it's been a weird year, and I know I've talked about it on here and gotten a lot of grief in that world for what I'm doing. But ultimately, I'll continue to say it. I'm there for the racers and for the teams, man. Like, that's my motive. That's my only motive. And at this point, if anybody don't like it, you can kiss my ass. That's kind of where I'm at with it, to be honest.
I think you do a great job not just capturing everything for the racers and the teams, but you also capture the vibe of the fans and everybody there. So you're doing it for everybody.
Hence truck guy behind you there.
Hence truck guy behind you. Hence that awesome picture you got of us, walking in the pit lane. I think those are the moments too that you and I know you get a ton of them throughout the night. And I think when you put those up, man, that really captures the essence of what especially PA racing is.
Try to, man, and I think it needs to be documented. I think it needs to be out there because it's a sport I love. I grew up with it, and as an adult, I've stayed with it. And it's definitely a niche thing, but it needs to be celebrated. And if the tracks aren't going to do a good job themselves, I'm not saying I'm needed to be that guy because it's certainly my choice to do it. But if I'm going to be there and be a fan, I might as well try to put it out there for everybody.
Right. I got one more drink it and dump it, and it's both. Josh Aaron couldn't make it tonight, won't be here until mid-October. He's going overseas for a trip. We're gonna miss you, buddy. We wish you were here tonight. We were really pumped up. I know he was the most adamant about is he was very happy that Truex didn't make the playoffs.
Not a fan, it turns out.
Yeah, apparently not, which I can understand. To be I think you were saying it too, and I was totally in agreement. It was vanilla versus vanilla between Blaney and Truex. You know what I mean? It was just like two boring ass personalities. Like you really didn't care if they were in or not.
And Daytona is such a wild card. Like not like back in the day where it was, they could have been fighting for that last spot in the playoffs and been 7th and 8th at Richmond. And are they going to wreck each other? Are they going to go for it? But this was a wrecked Ryan Blaney car with a Truex trying to survive and a rain, and it just was anticlimactic. And honestly, it was kind of boring. They were watching the lead because it was Austin Dillon trying to make the playoffs, right? Like it was all these things. It was just took away from it.
So Facebook user is Travis Garner.
Oh, he's here.
Chalk guy. That's Chalk guy. What's going on, Chalk guy? That is awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Shouts out, Chalk guy.
Awesome, dude.
So we're hoping to have him on here shortly in maybe a couple weeks here when some of this stuff gets knocked down. As you can see, we're over 2 hours already. So
I gotta go, man. I got a bedtime. What?
Yeah, same here.
I'm just here.
So fly Eagles, fly Jimbo. I like it. Let's go. Go
Old
Birds.
Jimbo. Hey, boys, have a great week.
Yeah. Have a great night, guys. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Like and subscribe, all that happy stuff. We'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Let's keep growing this thing, man. Join us. Have a little fun. Pop in, pop out, comment, share it. Tell some friends. Hopefully you enjoyed, a few 3, 4, 5 seconds of it. And we're doing something right.
And stay tuned to socials. Big stuff coming. We'll get to that down the road, though.
All right. Have a great night, guys. See you guys next week.
Tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terror Boys over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.